What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto was banished and took over the hidden sand? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. You know, being a baby isn't all bad. You get free food, don't need to pay for stuff, and you can just lay there. But after a while you get sick of being a baby. That's if you have the awareness of an average human. And I happen to be a dude stuffed into the body of a child. Wow, that sounded morbid. It sucks. One moment I was going to sleep in my bed and the next I wake up with the uncontrollable urge to cry. And cry I did, loudly in fact. And to my tears a kindly old woman came to the rescue and rushed to my side with a warm bottle that she put into my mouth after checking my diaper and finding nothing. Now that I think of it, I was feeling kinda hungry. Don't feel quite fond of crying for food though. After that, making sure I was satisfied and wouldn't go back to crying once again, she burped me, which felt weird to say the least. She then put me back into the crib where I just laid there. And I enjoyed the peace and quiet for a long while. Until I got bored and wanted to do something that is. However, seeing as I am once again a baby that unfortunately is cognizant for this with no possessions, I can't very well reach for my phone as babies don't get one as far as I'm aware, so I get bored very easily. God, Kami, Buddha, Rob, someone. Why? Just why? I don't mind the new game plus you gave me, but did it really have to be with me so young? Heck, you could either have made me a somewhat older child or given me something to occupy myself to keep from going bored. I swear, the only thing that this experience will give me is unlimited patience, which I already did have a good amount of patience. Being the eldest sibling with 3 younger siblings does that to you. Guess it's time for me to try and fail to stand for a long while. Ma, weed this to me please? After the very long few years went by, I was finally able to slowly but surely stand once again. It was a frustrating process as I already know how to stand, but since I am starting from zero I just can't seem to be able to easily. Same with the speaking. Well, I would have a better time at that if everyone didn't speak Japanese. Why couldn't I have been born somewhere with a familiar language? Like Spanish or English. I had to learn a new language, and while tiring and frustrating, I was able to do that slightly quicker than walking. Which came in handy many times once I was able to just yell, food. When I was hungry and such. It never ceases to make me laugh when I thought to the times I just yelled that. I had to hold back a flinch to my pathetic attempt to talk properly while holding out a little book to the matron of the orphanage, daycare, still not sure on that quite yet. However, I have been here long enough to start walking and talking, so either I am being taken care of in a daycare due to neglectful parents, or I am just an orphan. The kindly old woman regards me with a kind smile and takes the book and walks over to the rocking chair that is reserved for story time. It is a serious affair, of course. I walk over there with my pudgy little legs and clambered up to her lap. I like to think that she gave me no help at all. Ah, such a good story choice, good job Ren. Yep. My new name is Ren, which I have no clue what it means, at least it doesn't sound ridiculous or something like that. Thanks Ma. The matron has us all call her Ma, probably so that we are more comfortable with her. There was once a man who could control all the metals of the world with just a flick of his finger. The place in which he lived reflected how he used his metals, finely grained and more numerous than the stars in the sky. One day he had a vision made known unto him. It was one of him leading a prosperous village of shinobi. So to make this a reality he honed his ability, making it so none could deny this vision he sought to make reality. He eventually set out to gather all those who dwelled within the desert. He first encountered a family of healers, who wished to accompany him and fulfill his vision after seeing his prowess. Although they were but humble healers, they were not to be trifled with, as they were also well versed in the sealing arts, capable of many feats any normal man would mistake as something much greater. He readily agreed to that, knowing they would make a great ally rather than a formidable foe. The now bigger group traveled for many days until they encountered a clan of puppet wielders who also recognized the greatness of the man's vision and believed he could make it a reality. Together, they united multitudes of people in the country of the wind and created a great village hidden within the sand. To do this they brought together those who could move the earth and bade them congregate together a large structure in which they could dwell within, with no threats of invaders. The great man following this became the leader and took upon the name of the Wind Shadow to pass on to his family and lead the village to prosperity just as he had envisioned long ago. The end. Ma closed the book and set me down on the floor to go to what previous activity she needed to attend to. I thought of how some parts seem familiar to something, especially the part of a shinobi village and it being hidden in the sand. I suppose after a while many things will be similar to another thing. This is a kid's storybook. The story was interesting, but seriously, why would people use puppets for combat? That sounds kinda lame. They could have put something else, but oh no matter. So apparently the place I've been growing up in so far is functionally both a daycare and orphanage. How do I know this? First, common sense. I've been here long enough to learn how to walk and talk. I have also been able to see some people drop off some kids here to leave and never come back. But sometimes they come back their child and go back on their merry way. Those are rare though. I think that's how I got here, just dropped off and left here. That's fine actually. It would be hard to just accept two people as my new parents. I walk over to the book cabinet to look at more of the picture books that have words to help with correlation. I kind of need it so I can be able to read again. I just want to read regular books, gosh dang it. I got to reading right then and started to notice that there were a large amount of ninja stuff. Shuriken, kunai, and other things. I know when people think of Japan they think of anime, ninjas, and samurai, but I don't think they need to take it so literally. Also, aren't kunai historically used for digging? I remember watching a video on that, using a shovel for fighting. How silly. Instead of individual birthdays, here we celebrate one big one for everyone. We all get one present each that is more than likely something handmade or something else small if we ask nicely, and one wish, in which if it's nothing ridiculous we can request anything. I'm not really sure how old I am at this point, but I've seen a few, but I can't base it off of those because I could be older than that. I won't really waste my request for something like that as I can just ask later on. With a meager amount of money that I had asked for my present in the raccoon pouch that I got last year, which was in my pocket, I went up to Ma with my wish for this year, hoping to make the most of it for the day. Ma, I have my wish. I tug at the matron's long dress to bring attention to myself and I pull out the big guns straight away, my incredibly dashing smile. Quote, "Oh, Ren, what is your birthday wish?" I gestured her down to me and I whispered into her ear, "I want to explore outside." She looks at me with a soft smile. "Okay, but be sure to get back before it gets dark." No promises. I yell as I rush to the door to enjoy the most of the day and not to prolong the inevitability of Ma being cross with me. As I walk through the streets I take in my environment. Clay buildings, people garbed in clothing for desert wear, and sand everywhere. I believe I may be in a desert, just a hunch. Which strikes me as odd. Why would we be in a desert? I don't remember hearing about any in Japan, so how come everyone speaks Japanese? If it were somewhere else in the world, at the very least there would be other languages present from other people. No matter, I am here to enjoy the outside. Why? Well, the matron doesn't really let us go outside at all, only the older kids, and I just want to get out of there. I got tired of being cooped up in there for what felt like forever. Now, where was I? Ah yes, having fun and exploring this place. Lost. I'm lost. I don't know how I did it, but I got lost. Sure, all the buildings might look the same, and sure everyone dresses very similarly, and sure lots of people have similar hair, but it shouldn't be that hard. As I finally give up and got to an adult to ask where the orphanage is and hope for the best, I hear children screaming and a child yelling, "Don't leave me alone." Promptly after that everyone flees in fear. Why? Let's go find out, shall I? I turned to the source and walked over there only for my brain to just go into overdrive at what I'm seeing and just what it means. A small red-haired boy surrounded by sand shifting around him with a ball in his hand. He looks a lot like a certain character from a certain show. He looks just like him but younger and without that weird thing he had on his head. The fact he has sand moving around him like in a movie just reaffirms this fact into my mind. But it can't be right? I just got a heat stroke and I'm hallucinating, right? There is no possible way I am in something that is merely a show, the machinations of one individual that got very widespread and popular. But as he turns to me and sees me standing there and not fleeing, he widens his eyes and starts to walk towards me. And to that I could only say one very logical thing in that very moment. Fuck, why aren't you running? Fuck, fuck, fuck. Why in the fuck flying fuck and I fucking here? I take it back, I want to be in normal land, please. Oh dear, who do I pray to? Well, I just kinda got screwed over being in this world, so I guess none of the normal ones? Work in progress, I suppose. Anyway, for the sheer amount of things I could have gotten into, it had to be here. The Naruto world, or as I will fondly call it, the scary world where I can die super easily. Like nowhere is safe. Either it will get nuked when I become a teen again and this place gets bombed by those dudes who want them sweet Jinchuriki. Oh wait. Is small boy crazy right now? I look over to him and see him sad, something I clearly remember he did not do when he was insane. Okay, so he's not a deranged child at this point. This is good, I think. I think Gaara wants a friend if my mind decides to be benevolent to me with information and not malevolent. Fuck, I'm not even in the fucking leaf. At least then I know I will stay safe there, after the invasion, and after Pain destroys the whole village, when he revives everyone. Okay, maybe the Sand Village is a good place to be in terms of survivability. Could have at least been in the future or something, just saying. So what would be a good way to survive? Easy, be friends with the person that everyone is afraid of in this village and other people who see him. The Sand Jinchuriki. He's still here, so I can make this work and not die by the time I barely get into puberty. How come you didn't run like everyone else? Fuck, well I guess I should try and attempt that right now then. Do you want me to? He widens his eyes and shakes his head furiously. No, just that everyone runs away from me. Damn, that hurts, for your whole life to see people run from you. Why? Good, just play like an absolute clueless child, for that is what I should be right now. They say I am a monster, every time they see me. Fuick, this is hitting me in the damn feels. Why must small child suffer? My elder sibling instincts are flaring, and not the one where you make fun of them. Nah, it's the one where your sibling gets made fun of someone, not you, and you are about to knock the block off the kid. For legal reasons this is an example. Wait, different laws here, duh. Why? Ah yes, the most word-provoking world out of all the words ever created, none can bring forth more words than why. It's because I can do this. He lifts his hand and sand starts to shift and move and just do what it's not normally doing. That's so cool. He jumps and the sand fell back down to the ground, a lapse in his concentration. That is so cool. You can control the sand? Why would they call you a monster for that? Out of the majority of superpowers out there, the one that had me most enraptured as a kid besides the normal one all kids want was sand manipulation. Watching Spider-Man 3 as a kid and seeing Sandman do all that stuff really made me think it was cool. It is especially cool when you grew up in a place that was functionally a desert and sand dunes were never too far away. Plus, I could never make cool sandcastles at the beach. Anyway, this is a pretty cool power to have, especially in the desert where we are currently. I don't know. Oh yeah, still in a conversation, whoops. Well, that isn't nice. Hey, since you got a ball, wanna play? Once again I just realized how starved for attention he was, with him nodding his head so quick it was nearly a blur. Likely his first time playing with someone else his age. How do you play? Okay. Guess I will have to explain kid things to him probably. Easy, I throw the ball to you and you have to catch it, then you throw the ball. Pretty simple, right? He nodded his head and tossed the ball to me, and so we started the boring task of catch, which gave me time to think things through. Namely, how to not die a most painful death. I want to be a civilian, but at the same time I don't. If I do, I can't really do anything if I were to be targeted for no reason. If I become a shinobi, then I will be able to defend myself, at the cost of being in a large food chain of death. I do get to use Jesus mode with water though. And I also get other cool jutsu to spam. To be determined for later. For now, I have a ball to throw. After playing for a while, Gaara finally got bored and I suggested to him to start making things with sand. It was fun. I would poorly draw something into the sand, then he would make it, but only much better. The Sandman one was very funny if I do say so myself. Though Gaara didn't get it for obvious reasons. He did have a much better time understanding the poop he made. Well, he is a child. Unfortunately it became night and we had to go home. Alright, I have to go now, see you late. I forgot. I don't know where to go. What's wrong? My new friend that is also my lifeline asked me meekly. I don't know where the orphanage is. The kid scrunched up his face in a cute way as he was thinking of something. Ah, my savior in the form of a child. Maybe he knows where I can find to go, and make sure the matron doesn't completely wreck me. I may be in a world of bigger things, but I have seen how she wields that sandal against the other kids. Not even my grandma could do that. How about you come to my house? Or that works too, I guess. I shrug, not like I'm a go around all the place. Sure, that works too. We start walking to his house, Well, more like I followed him as we meandered through the city. As we went through the city, doors and windows were being shut when Gaara came into view. Dang, that must suck really. To have doors shut in your face as soon as you have a sliver of yourself show up. It seemed to not affect Gaara, though he had some sort of a pep in his step. Did me just playing with him for one day really affect him that much? I must say those sand figures does make for great bonding. Oh, we're here. I look at the house in which Gaara residing in and half expected it to be defaced or something, but to my surprise it was a really nice house. Really large as well. I then remembered his father was a Kage and his uncle was a ninja or something. Oh, I forgot about that man, the one who really put the start of Gaara's insanity. One question that won't really be asked though. Why? That makes sense. If he actually cared for him, why do that, and vice versa? If he truly hated Gaara, why would he care for him and teach him things? It's very convoluted if you ask me. We step into the house and I look around only to see how empty it is, which is jarring. A large and spacious house only for there to be near to nothing inside when you enter. I see regular furniture and even those look like they are there for functionality, not comfort. He led me to his room and once again another contrast was made. Where the rest of the house had nearly nothing, his room had a large assortment of toys and other things. There was just a large pile of toys in a corner, but aside from all that was a small bear with a shinobi headband with what I think is the sand symbol. Gaara went to the bear and held it and went to a bed that was overshadowed by aforementioned pile of toys. He looks at me and gestured to his bear. This is my bear stuffings. Why is he called that? He put on a big smile on his face and squeezed tightly and a piece of stuffing came out. Because when you give him a big hug he lets out a stuffing. Okay, that is cute. Small child's smile must be protected. Which is kind of hard when it is likely that he will be driven insane by his uncle for nearly no good reason or any reason at all. I decided to take part in something that I had not done since I was a kid, the first time round. Play with toys. Going through the toys I find nothing that could keep me occupied until I come across a great thing that can lead to all sorts of fun. A card deck. Why does Gaara have one? No clue. I do know that I have something to do now. While I like cards and have a decent amount of skill in it along with luck, for some reason I have almost no luck when it comes to solitaire. The amount of times I've won is very much overshadowed by how many times I have lost, and while most people would get better at this, somehow I don't. After playing a few times and mostly having to restart, Gaara decided to bring himself into the fold. What is this game? If I can get him into cards I can be able to play the games that I really am good at, like speed. This is called solitaire. It's fairly simple. You have to make the cards go into a stack going from ace to 2 all the way to king. But you can only put cards together that are faced up and they have to be the opposite color unless they are in these 4 slot areas. Also, when you have nothing you can flip 3 cards from the deck and you can only grab the one on front, and any cards faced down that have no other cards on them can be flipped. I think that's it? Gaara looked confused from my convoluted explanation and barely followed anything. I don't blame him, I suck at explanations. After a few games where I coached Gaara, though, he finally got it and attempted himself, only to fail. He tried once again and got it, which I say he only got because he just happened to get luck alright. No skill there, mostly luck. That's right, definitely just beginner's luck. After seeing Gaara win solitaire so many times, I decided to teach him a few other games. These games were all ones that I played with my friends and can help pass the time easily. We engaged in the fast-paced game of speed, where precision was the key. We screwed each other over in the poor man's Uno, also called by my friends as Swiss. Along with those, we just played for fun and Gaara truly seemed to be having fun. So did I, and I really liked I had someone who didn't complain when they lost, even though he didn't really lose that often. Eventually I started to get sleepy, and try as I might, the child body that I was now in was not designed for staying up at all. Years of trying to stay up and failing have taught me this. I asked Gaara why he didn't get tired, fully knowing the answer, and he responded as I already knew. That when he slept he wouldn't be able to sleep for long, with nightmares plaguing him. I slowly started to fall asleep on the floor, reclining on some soft stuffed animals that I assembled as a seat. The last thing I saw was Gaara on the floor playing solitaire. Waking up was an interesting affair. Getting shaken awake certainly always is. When shaken awake, I look around the room to realize that the lights were off, I was on the bed, and more importantly Gaara was not the one shaking me awake. It was some masked shinobi that happened to scare me only a slight amount. Okay, that was a lie, he scared me lots. Where was Gaara? And why the hell is this ninja looking ready to make me a shish kebab? I started to kind of freak out, fitting given the situation. The ninja then unmasked his face to me and he had somewhat of a solemn look. It's okay, I'm Gaara's uncle, I don't have much time, so listen to me, okay? I nod, for I remember that this is a man who blew himself up. You don't mess with a person like that, it's common sense. You know what else is common sense? Freaking the fuck out silently on the inside. Alright, now I know you haven't been friends with Gaara for long, but as you seem to somehow not be afraid of him, I need to ask of you to do something. Make sure Gaara is okay. Right now I'm fighting him with my real self and I will blow myself up. This is to make all these assassinations on Gaara stop. I wish I didn't have to do this, but it was either this or Gaara died for real. When I die, this clone of me will crumble away. Although I know it's been very short, I pled you to be there for Gaara for me. Alright? What? So, the reason why the uncle did what he did was to stop the assassinations. Sure, that worked, but at the cost of his nephew's sanity. I thought that I had a much longer time before this shit happened. I guess I'll die then, since Gaara will be the same and very likely will kill me. But I can try, and I can hopefully survive till after Naruto drives some sense into Gaara or something. Oh, okay then. The man smiled. Thank you, take care. Oh. Before he crumbled into pieces of rock and sand onto the sheets, and the grip he had on me was gone. Along with that, a large boom went through the silent night. Well, I'm fucked. Just wonderful. After that boom, I decided to stay in the room and cover myself with the blankets after getting rid of the dirt that fell on the bed. Clone or not, that was a dead man. I was not going to go out of this room when an explosion just happened. What am I, an anime protagonist? Nah, I will take life, thank you very much. And so I wait, and hear some loud growling and crashes. And I cover myself more securely with the blankets. And wait some more. Until the door opens, and in the doorframe is Gaara, absolutely a mess. He physically looks fine, not a scratch on him, but his face and mental state are a different story. He looked like he had just cried a lot, his eyes were red from tears, and he just all around looked like crap. He shambled over to the bed and just collapsed onto it facing upwards. And he just sat there for a while, until he spoke with his voice breaking and strained, something that comes along with crying a lot. Ren, am I a monster? Why? Deities above, just why? I'm a child that needs to commence child counseling, where I've had no experience with this type of stuff. No, why do you ask that? His voice breaks, holding back tears as he responds. My uncle Yasha said that my mother hated me and that IW was a monster that only LOL loved itself. Okay, so how does one not fuck this up? Because I feel like this can go bad real fast. He also tried to kill me and I accidentally hurt him. And he told me that he didn't love me and now he's dead. He started to let the tears free, and it cascaded down his face. Damn, there is nothing I can think of that can help him. If I ask him if he loved his uncle, that would be a really sore spot, so no to that. I look around the room for inspiration until it hit me. I don't think you are a monster, or someone who cares for only their self. He looked up at me, trying to stop his tears, hiccuping and some snot running down his nose, which he wipes away with his sleeve. Why you don't? I shake my head and grab the thing that will save my ass. The bear, Mr. Stuffings. I don't think that a monster would have a bear, do you? He shakes his head and grabs onto the bear tightly, with some stuffing coming out like he showed me earlier. And look at that. You really love Mr. Stuffings, right? Then your uncle was wrong about that. He looked at me and tried to smile, and he did, albeit weakly, along with a flinch with the mention of his uncle. Besides, I'm your friend, right? So I guess I am also proof you aren't a monster or anything like that. He then started to cry once again, but this time it wasn't of sadness but of joy. I hope. For the rest of the time I just let him hold onto me with his bear in his arms, pouring out his feelings. No. Gaara firmly put down his foot, his face in a scowl very reminiscent of the period in the anime where he was about ready to kill everyone. The man in front of him, despite being a chunin, was cowering like a lamb to the slaughter. But it was an order from Lord Casecage. The pitiful chunin squeaked as if Gaara would care for that. Then if it was that important of me to go to his house, he would have come over. Now farewell. Gaara closed the door, and as fast as he put on that face it was wiped off. What? Huh? Gaara? What was that? He turned to me, just realizing I was there the whole time. Oh, the man was here to tell me that my father wanted me to live with him now. But I think that I wouldn't be able to see you then, so I said no. Okay, let me just file that away for later then. No, not that. I mean where you got all serious. A few days ago you had trouble talking to me and right now you talk to him firmly. It was pretty cool. At this he got all red, like a child being praised for getting the big kid problem right on the first try. Oh, that. He had taught me how to speak all important. He said that since I was of important blood I needed to know how to speak properly with the right attitude. It was hard to do it though. Now that explains how Gaara was so good at being a cage despite being so young. He had training already. I also noticed how Gaara refused to say his uncle's name, and that was fine. He needs some time to calm down and settle with that trauma, which will take some time. Or at least I think that's how it works. So what are we going to do now? Gaara perks up, eyes bright with an idea. How about we play cards? I laugh, and pull out the deck we have been using out of my pocket and we dash to the table to play some red as a lot, rounds of speed. Why is it that when we are in bed, or in the bathroom we think of things that we normally don't think of, or alternatively something that really should have come to mind a long time ago? I not that long ago got ready for bed, borrowing some of Gaara's extra PJs, and a thought popped into mind. The orphanage. Crap, I forgot about that. To make it worse, it's nearly been a week. If Ma was going to give me a good smack for being late on the first day, I fear what she would do to me after nearly a week of nothing. Wait, you know what? I'm in a world with things that are much less scarier than her. Why should I care? What are they going to do to me? Arrest me? In a village of shinobi where they, let's be honest, do way worse stuff on a daily basis than a kid running away? I can deal with the consequences, if there are even any to be had. For now though, sleep. As I was drifting away to sweet oblivion, I heard the door opening and some quiet steps walk across the floor. Ren? The voice is back. I shift up from the bed and look at Gaara, not at all surprised by this. I pat the bed space beside me and he clambers on the bed. It's all right, Gaara, just don't listen to the voice. He starts to shake a bit, and his breathing gets a bit more rough. I know, it's just so hard though. You could hear the resistance to crying very clearly as he is trying his best. I just do what I can and bring him into a hug. What more can I do? Oh wait, I think I get something. Here, follow me. He nods his head and I get up from the bed, Gaara following suit. We head out of the room and into the mostly barren kitchen. I look around the cabinets and pantries in search of the items I need. After a few minutes I have what I need. A pot, 1 measuring cup, 2 cups, and some tea bags. I fill up the pot with water, using the measuring cup to put in a decent amount that both Gaara and I could drink, put it on the stove and light the stove. I wait for it to boil by continuing to comfort my friend. What are you making? Distracted by what I was doing, Gaara wasn't suffering as bad from the voice as he normally did. That was good, then maybe the tea will help. I'm making you and me some tea. You so you can relax, and some for me so I can stay up and help you if you need it. He shakes his head at that, seemingly mad at something I said. No, you should just go to sleep after this. You don't need to that for me the whole night. I just refuse his refusal. It's fine, besides who else are you going to lose in cards with? I know Mr. Stuffings is one mean poker player, but don't you get tired of losing to a bear? He puffs up his cheeks in anger, but JT just looks cute on him rather than the anger he had when insane like in the show. I don't lose. Gaara grumbled to himself indignantly. Hey, this is good, he is properly distracted now. I check on the pot and see the water was boiling, so I grab it and carefully pour it into the cups, mindful of the step stool I was on. I then grab the different sets of tea bags and put them in each mug. Looking at the mugs, I was disappointed. They were really bland, since they looked like they can be painted on. Maybe we can do that? I bring mugs over to the counter Gaara was sitting on, and sat on the high chair next to him. I set them down and before Gaara could grab his, I stopped him. Careful, you should let these cool down. Otherwise you could burn your tongue. He widens his eyes and nods in understanding. I quickly get to talking so he doesn't go back to hearing the voice loudly. So, since we don't really have the right kettle for this, I'm not sure if it would taste different, so sorry if it tastes crappy, okay? He nods, but I feel he would have drank it regardless of whether it was crappy or not that he has many options at this point. Talking can only distract him for so long. We started to talk about other small things we did confined to this 1 HPUSE, as we had yet to really go out much and it was surprisingly easy to keep on talking. In the back of my mind, however, all I could think of was how to help Gaara. Sure, I've only known him for like a week tops, but I feel really close to him. And sure, I only became his friend in the first place, so that I could save my hide for the most part. But now, I don't want him to suffer. He really has a crappy childhood, and the fact that he can't sleep and he hears the vliss of the sand raccoon since his seal is crap kinda grinds my gears. I have not come up with a solution just yet, but tea will have to do for now. Alright, you can try to see if it's cool enough, don't forget to blow on it lightly just in case. Gaara takes the advice to heart and does just that, then takes a small sip of it. Then after blowing on it a bit more, he drinks a larger amount and looks to me and smiles a big grin. Thanks Ren, I feel better already. Ah, yes, I remember another reason why I want to help Gaara. That cute gosh darned smile, one that can melt the heart of people. Anyone who disagrees are not people and should therefore be shown the door. With force. I promise you this, Gaara. I will make sure YPU get a good night's of sleep. I take a cig from my mug to seal this solemn vow silently. Gah, I burnt my tongue. Hearing the door being pounded first thing in the morning is not a good way to wake up. Shambling through the halls, I go to the entrance with a yawn in my throat. I open the door and all thought processes halt. I see the case cage himself and his two kids, Tamari and... What's his face? Greetings, I urgently request that Gaara comes out to join in a very important disco. Sorry, wrong house. I slam the door at breakneck speeds and instantly regret it. Oh fuck, I just did that to the most powerful man in this village. I am literally taking apart my plan to live and I'm not even that old. Why did I have to do that? I have but one way to summarize all this. Shit. Omake 52 card pickup. Hey Gaara. My small red-haired friend looked up from his stuffed bear and was ready for what I had to say. Wanna play a new card game? His eyes light up with excitement at this. He always likes learning new card games, and he nods his head up and down so fast that there were afterimages. It's called 52 pickup. How do you play that? I look at him with a grin, deck of cards already PRMIED in my hands, and I throw it with reckless abandon. Cards going arpent the room. Easy, you pick them up. I started to laugh interanla as I finally had someone to do that to. Seriously ho, was it that everyone I knew already has heard of it? I then noticed Gaara was picking up the cards with a smile. I immediately felt bad, then started to pick up the cards with him. YPU wanted to play too? I nodded with a somber look, guilt weighting me down from Gaara, thinking this was an Actal game. Yeah, I wanted to play this with you. The rest of the day I felt bad for what I did. Okay, so let's go through this real quick. I woke up, I went to the door, and when I opened the door, standing there was the leader of the village and his two kids. I also slammed the door in his face, the most powerful man in the village and possible the country. Okay, this is fine. I wish I still had the internet so I could look up how to just, like, not die a most gruesome death from insulting the cage. I had one job, not get myself in a situation that can kill me. And what did I do? I went ahead and got myself into a situation where I can be killed in my sleep from sheer stupidity. There is only one way to go about this. Gaara, someone's here for you. By hiding behind my friend for safety and hope I live. So, what are you guys here for? Sitting on the couch with Gaara, the case cage and co on a different one, I tried to cut some of the tension. Gaara had his diplomatic face on again, calling it that now. The cage looked impassive, and the Sand siblings looked very nervous and jittery. Earlier when Gaara had been the one to open the door, his face went from his anime counterpart scowl to his normal diplomatic scowl. The transition had frankly spooked the two siblings there, likely not expecting that at all. The case cage had no outward difference, not that you could tell with his robes, and merely strode down the hall and to the sofa, his kids scurrying after him. Gaara, I have sent a courier ninja to inform you that I was requesting your presence at my home. Why have you instead told them to summon me instead? It would save us all the trouble if you would just come over. The case cage gave his little drawl, somehow still monotone but able to carry some displeasure in his voice at the same time. Well, in the first place, I do not desire to be of residence in your house. Second, I feel like it would be more proper to offer a refusal in person, so I will give it. I apologize, but I have no intentions to move over to your residence. I am quite content here as I have always been. Gaara was crossing his arms while delivering his denial, the perfect accessory to his scowl. Yeah, you tell him, Gaara. Huh, wonder who said that? I look around and I see everyone is looking at me, all with varying expressions. Gaara had a twitch in the corner of his mouth upwards in his otherwise stern face for a child. The Sand siblings looked aghast with pale faces, and the cage had his eyebrows furrowed together looking directly at me. Ah, I did. Once again I did something that potentially can screw me over. Is it Tuesday today? I feel like it's Tuesday. That would explain a whole lot of things. Gaara, who is this rabble that is here currently? What do I do? Counter-insult the man who could break my spine in an instant, or just be silent and let the person with some experience at fancy talk do it for me? Hard choice, but I think I will go with the second. I like my spine very much. I do not know who do you refer as rabble. All I see is myself and my companion here today, along with yourself and your progeny that you have brought with you. To emphasize this, Gaara raised his eyebrow. Well, let me reiterate then, who is your companion that is with you? I had not been aware that there was someone with you here since the time of your uncle's untimely death. Wow, low blow there. I look to Gaara and see his diplomatic persona break as he flinches but hurries to piece it back together. Well, Gaara swallows and takes a deep breath to further steady himself. He is someone whom I had bonded with before the accident, and since he has no home to call his own and is a fellow compatriot, I decided to invite him over. He has been here with me ever since. Gaara with the save. And might I ask, to your companion this time, who are you? Ah, crap, still not out of deep waters. Oh, I'm Ren, no last name so far. I was born here as far as I know and I have no parents. I am best friends with Gaara here, and play a mean game of poker. I can also brew so really good tea according to Gaara. Careful though, don't burn your tongue like I did, it was sensitive for a few days after that. Still kinda is. Yep. Word vomit, my old friend. Can't help but just say a whole lot of info about myself when he literally asked who I was. Hey. Oh, at least I made someone laugh. That's something at least. Who was it? I looked to see who laughed and it was the sister of the siblings, but she immediately went still and covered her mouth, red tinging her cheeks. The cage was less impressed however, still looking at me uninterested. I see, and then may I ask, are you going to enroll into the academy? Huh? What academy? Is school fucking mandatory even here? The one thing I thought I could escape, and it's mandatory here too. Might as well act stupid then, hopefully that way I can weasel my way out of it. To what are you referring to? The man rolled his eyes, a much more open emotion coming out, annoyance. Surely you must know that the way of preventing yourself from being put into an orphanage is to apply to the Ninja Academy. I do now. So wait, is that the only way of preventing that? Aside from being adopted, yes. Crap, what do I do? Go back to the orphanage or go to ninja school? I don't really want either, but I have to choose. What to choose? You know what? I always wanted to see how it felt to walk on water. Where can I apply? While sorting out all the details for that, I rationalized to myself that I only need to do this until like after the Chunin exams, then I'm hopefully done. Until then I can suck it up. How does one unlock chakra? Now that the meeting was over, I had to figure out the method of unlocking the BS power-up. No clue on how to do that though. So I turned to the only other person in the house who actually had it unlocked. No clue. Gaara just shrugged on the couch, slumping on it. What do you mean you don't know? Isn't you sand powers fueled by it or something? That's what was told to us by the cage from earlier. Yes, but I've just been able to do this for as long as I can remember and I never get tired from using it. Ah yes, one of the few advantages of having a monster in your belly. Damn, so I gotta ask around? He just shrugged again. You know where the library is? This time he nodded. Then let's go, that way I can get it over with, just in case I need it unlocked before the academy or some other bullshit. He got up and we headed to the library. So to get my chakra out, I need to find my center and make it flow? Okay, totally not dumb sounding at all. It took me 3 books and many words for me to find that one piece of information. If I didn't know what it could do, I would say it wasn't worth it, it is unfortunately. So sitting in the small and mostly vacant library, I adopted a meditative pose and closed my eyes. Where the fuck is my center? That sounds so vague and not helpful at all. I sat there for a while, sitting there and trying to find my center and let it flow. After a longer while I finally felt something. It was faint but strong, so I homed in onto it. It felt somewhat small and it pulsated at the same beat as my heart. It wasn't small in the normal way though, it felt more compressed if I had to put it into words. Okay, now I know where it is now. Now how do I let it flow? After playing around with the small bubble for what felt like hours, I felt something once again. It felt like some of the stuff in the sphere was leaking something. And it wasn't just in one area either. I felt it branching outwards and branching off, filling my whole body. As it filled my body I felt more invigorated than before and it gave me a sense of power. I keep eagerly spreading it around just so that I can keep on clinging onto that feeling. It was a new one and I wanted to fully appreciate it. Unfortunately the feeling went away and I no extra to spread, the vast part of it already circulating around my body. I got up and immediately noticed that the time I started and the time I finished was vastly different. The time I came here was more in the morning-ish time, now it's in the afternoon late at that. Gaara was still waiting however, awesome friend he is, and he noticed I was done and got up. You do it? I smile in affirmation. Yep, and I feel awesome too. He smiles back at me, his is just smaller which is fine. At least his was something, he needs to smile more, it's good for him. My stomach growled as we were walking and I had realized I skipped a meal and I need something in the tank. What am I making? Who knows? Listen up for I'm going to say this just once, this here is a shinobi academy, that means it's going to be hard and grueling alright? Anyone who can't make the cut is outta here. Understand? In front of my vision was a tall man, with a stern face ready to yell at someone who dares to speak out of line. This man unfortunately will be my teacher for the next few years until I graduate this place. Why does he look like a fucking drill sergeant? This class is full of fucking kids. Not soldiers. Ah wait, they technically are soldiers. Now, as a little piece of advice from me to all of you. For teams, it will descend from the best to the worst. The best team will comprise of the best shinobi and so on and so forth. So if you want to survive and be with the best, I suggest you whip up in shape and be the best. While delivering this riveting advice, he was marching up and down with his hands behind his back. Really, what is this guy's deal? Anyways, now that that is all said and done, let's get your chakra unlocked, shall we? Did I hear correctly? While certainly possible to unlock it on your own time and effort, it would be much more difficult and time-consuming to do that. Especially if you didn't have anyone to guide you. I want to not exist. Fuck KKK. That is why I will be unlocking all of your chakras in order. It really do be like that, huh? I look at Gaara and gesture to the man then me. The connotation's obvious, and he laughed. Had I not been bridling with anger that this could have been simplified so much, I would have been ecstatic for my friend. Currently I was pissed that the whole day was wasted away senselessly when I could have done something better than read for an obscure piece of text and spend the rest of the day mediating. Sitting around for my turn and tell them it was already unlocked was long, not like the whole day long, but still long enough I could be doing something else. Like the chakra exercises the rest of the class was doing. They all had a slip of paper and they had to make it stick to them with chakra. Some were having better success than others despite some being called later than others. Ren, no last name. Finally, I can go tell them. I walk up to the man who was sitting down near my level and stopped in front of him. I already unlocked my chakra, sir. The man raised an eyebrow and med skeptically. He put his hand on my stomach and I felt a pulse of what I believe is chakra. He gained an appreciative look and gave me a not frown. Which is saying something since he almost always looks eternally pissed. It seems you do. Good job then, now take this paper and try to stick it to you using only chakra. I take it and can already tell why people aren't already cheesing this thing by sticking it to your skin like other paper. It was one that wouldn't stick to your skin no matter how hard you pressed it and it was too heavy for that. Not heavy in the conventional say, but in that it couldn't stick well from the weight of the paper dragging it down. I sat down at a spot where I was next to Gaara and I saw he was somewhat making it stick. Let's see how I fare then. I channeled chakra TP my hand and feel it go to the paper and I flip it upside down. Only for it to immediately fall. I try again, this time with less. Same result. This time with more. Same result. Until I calm myself, and try doing it with a calm mind with no distractions whatsoever. Then I saw that it stuck somewhat, before falling to the floor just like recent attempts. But that means I made progress. It is possible and that is good. I just need to be in the right frame of mind then. This process continued until we were told to stop what we were doing and to head home for now. Our homework was to work on sticking the whole thing to our hand for 5 seconds at least. I look up and realized that time once again indeed decided to move on without me. Good thing that I had half of the paper already sticking to me. I was nearly halfway there. Back at the house I was sitting down and trying to get it to stick at the dinner table. I decided it was a good idea to eat and do this. Multitasking at its finest. Gaara was able to get his already, to my utter confusion. Didn't it say in the anime that the more chakra you have the harder it is to control it? That was like why Naruto kept failing, and I know Gaara has a bunch more than me for obvious reasons. You should take a break, Ren. Nope, I gotta be able to do this, my streak will not fail. Gaara looked at me confused. What streak? I pause, think then continue at the task at hand. No clue, just sounds cool. He puts on a small exasperated smile, then shakes his head and goes back to eating. Already I had the vast majority of the paper, I was so close I could taste it. And no, I did not refer to food already in my mouth, thank you very much. I just needed a bit more than I was done. It was the dead of night, only few were awake at this hour. Ninja were patrolling the grounds for safety and for extra measure. There was but no sounds going through the night. Fuck yeah, I did it. Until I was able to complete the exercise like a boss, that is. I am awesome, no doubt about it. Jesus mode, here I come. It was now morning. I decided to forego any sleep in favor of mastering the paper exercise with both hands, and I am glad to say I have mastered it. Worth it. I can already feel the water holding me up as I walk on it. Wait, how does it feel to walk on water? Guess that's a question for later. At least I match Gaara in terms of sleep, which was none. We came back to the academy like instructed, and there was Mr. Grumps. Ha, clever name achieved. He was watching us all with a critical eye as we filled in one by one, some earlier than others and few still late. I could care less about that, so I just turned to Gaara and we made some small talk. Not that there was much we could talk about at that present moment. We already have extensive conversations between ourselves, so we normally have them later in the day. Alright, line up and take out your papers, single file. No good morning? Geez, okay then. I moved to where the line was being made and stand next to Gaara, who was on my right. On my left was a kid with raven hair, which made him stand out a bit. The norm for hair color here was the reddish of Gaara's, the dirty blonde like Gaara's sister, and brown kinda like mine. So the fact that someone had a different hair color was interesting in its own right. Not in the context of a population demographic, however, but in the terms of important people. In anime, the important people tended to stand out a lot, and the fact I am in one is no exception. However, I could be talking straight out of my ass and be wrong, who knows? Good, you all have ears that work. Now hold your paper and make it stick fully to your hand. We stop when I say to stop. We all do so, and I decide to concentrate at the task at hand. Ha, puns never cease to give me a little chuckle, applying my chakra to the sweet spot that I made for when concentrating on it. I was abandoned my awareness to the most part so that I just don't fuck this up. It always sucks to fail at something you know you are fully capable of doing. It's like a trick you are able to do perfectly alone, but when you try to show it to others you can't do it for some reason. I was able to hear some audible noises, some from the floor, but I hold it until the fat lady sings. Alright, that is enough. I stop the flow of chakra and the paper fall to the floor, along with more papers hitting the floor. I breathe a sigh of relief and stand up straight. I see Gaara looking calm as usual. Well, when he is out in public, that is, not a single hair out of place. To my left was the same kid with sweat dripping down his brow. Barely just made it? He turns to me, taking in a deep breath, and nodded hesitantly. Yeah, I stayed up all night trying to get good at doing this. He seemed to calm down at that, relieved he wasn't the only one. Yeah, the same with me. It was hard getting it to stick, but I think it will get easier. Before we could talk more, the teacher decided to talk once again. Those of you who failed got to this side of the wall. Now, he pointed to the opposite side of the room, and a few kids walked there with their heads down. They stood lined up with embarrassment on their faces. They tried to cover their shame, but to no avail. You see these kids? Well, they didn't quite make the cut, so to remedy that, do you know what we do? He was looking at all of us, moving his gaze across all of us, wanting any of us to answer. Us being kids, not me though, mentally that is, we shook our heads in the negative. When people don't make the cut, they get cut from the academy permanently. The kids up there shifted their faces from slight embarrassment to pure horror, the facial pigment turning pure white. They started making noises and pleadings only for it to fall on deaf ears. The kids around me had a mixture of emotions, some were relief, others fear, and even some crying in joy that they probably didn't fail right out the gate. Now, you all of you, out. I want you out of here and to never come back. The kids realized there was no arguing with him on this, so they left the room with a sort of walk of shame, trudging along. Now for those of you who were actually not a waste of time, as you saw they were being let go. Suna wants strong shinobi to keep its people happy and alive. We can't be doing that with weak ninja. ANND he was pacing back and forth now. From now on if you want to be in this academy you need to be the best, that's the only way you can become a ninja here. There will only be a very small amount of you that will succeed, make sure you yourself succeed. Well, that was something. But dang, only a few will be able to graduate? At least that's what it sounds like from what he is saying. I look over to Gaara and I nod at him, he nodded back. We will both succeed in this. I know he does, but I have to work and get my way there. I only have to hold out for a while then I'm home free. I guess I will pull a Rock Lee, by training all day and every day to not fail. I will actually be able to train my justice stuff. When I can actually do them that is. We will now commence class, go and sit down. He pointed his hand in a direction and over there was many desks arranged together, like in the Leaf Academy in the anime. How in the fuck did I not notice it till right now? I mean I know I have a hard time finding something at times when looking for it but I'm not that clueless. Looking at everyone else it seemed that I was not alone in this, thank goodness. We all went to our seats and sat down at them. Gaara next to me and I waved down the guy from earlier and he sat over with some thought. Well, guess we have time to talk then. I decided to say when he sat down. Yeah, and so we do. He was kinda quiet somewhat, for a kid at least, which actually was something I could deal with right now. I held out a hand to him. I'm Ren, nice to meet you. He takes it and shakes it, I follow through with it as well. Likewise, I am Shira. Alright now for the hard part. This guy here is my friend, Gaara. Alright let's hope he doesn't freak the fuck out. I can see some kids avoiding him even now. The majority of them were sitting as far away from us as possible. Nice to meet you. Gaara spoke softly to the friend hopeful, even extending out his hand to the other. To my surprise Shira took it with a smile. Nice to meet you too Gaara. Ah wow, Gaara made a friend. Let's go, I did too but I know how hard it is for Gaara to do so. We made a little bit more small talk before the teacher decided it was time to start class yay, not. We can talk more after class. I whispered this to Shira and he nodded shortly to confirm he understood and was able. Why did classes have to be so boring? Like I have some good ass patience and even I'm bored. Can't slack off though and rest. A kid was doing that and he was sent outside with 2 buckets of sand to hold. I looked to my friends, old and new, and see both of them silently watching the lecture, paying attention. Gah, why am I the only one that is bored already? Shouldn't the mental adult be more patient than the children? That's kind of a given. Oh well, I suppose I should tune back into the lecture. And so, Lord First was able to secure 30% of fertile land from the Leaf in the cage negotiations along with some financial compensation. This truly displayed the extent of the Lord's business sense and wile as a true ninja would do. He had also laid the groundwork for his son, the second Case Cage, to excel and empower the village well after his own death. Even as unexpected it was, that is how great his wile was. Okay, not gonna lie, this sounds interesting. I always liked history growing up. Never knew why some people didn't though, the craziest shit happened there that sounds like it would be out of a book. Like when the Salem witch trials were going on. A dude got so fed up with everyone's BS that he eventually basically told them to fuck off. The town didn't like that so they put him between 2 boards and started stacking boulders on him to make him confess and shit. Every time though the only thing he ever told them was simply, put more rocks. What a fucking legend even under all that pressure, ha dumb joke, he didn't waver. Unfortunately he kinda died from all the weight of rocks. Anyway, history is one of the coolest school subjects you can find. Hands down I'll fight people on this. And after making many strides in advancing the village's military might in many ways, Shaman was assassinated very much like his father, a very unjust death indeed. Oh, whoops, kinda got lost there, and missed some important stuff. Hey, if I need to I can always ask the other two on what I missed. We will continue more tomorrow. Right now we will be testing on what you were able to grasp on this. An important skill a shinobi has, is their sharp mind, so memorizing much information. Fuck it. Why did I go off in my head? Well, let's see if I can pull this BS off. He passed out the papers to each person at the end of the row and they passed them down accordingly. I got mine and realized I knew like only some of this information. Guess I'll have to cheat then, either that or get screwed over. I quickly jot down some of the answers I know, put down a correct sounding answer, and do the true and false questions based on how right they sounded. After looking to see discreetly if the teach wasn't looking, I dart my eye to Gaara's paper and see he was taking his sweet time on it. The same was true with Shira. Don't curse Ren, I know you want to, just don't. You can just go over the questions a bunch of times to make sure they fill out their answers. Some time passes and I look again to see they are still taking their sweet ass time. FUCK. This is fine. This is very much fine. I now started to tap my pen randomly to help me pass the time. It helps. I look over to the others' papers and see the answers I needed and jot them down quickly and discreetly. Finally, I got the answers so I can rest easy. I look up to see Teach looking at me straight in the eyes. Damn, he got me. To my surprise, however, he nodded and acted like he saw nothing, scanning the classroom. Huh, maybe the Teach is pretty chill after all? After the time at the academy, us three decided to walk and talk as we left the academy. So how do you guys think you did? The two look at me then shrugged. Don't know, I kinda just copied you then. When you didn't put anything down I wrote something random. What? Shira cheated off me? The same goes for me. At 2 Gaara? I started to chuckle, then laugh. I was laughing on my knees like someone told me the world's funniest joke. What's wrong, Ren? Both of them looked concerned for me. Oh, they should be concerned, just not for me. I had only one thing to say to that. We're fucked, guys. And I said it with a dead smile. Simply fucked. I would like to say that time went by quickly every time I went to the academy, but that would be lying. School was really slow. Sure, we got to learn cool history stuff, or would it be lore since I'm in an anime? Oi Gaara, what's number 4? It's A. Thanks. To make it worse, they give us homework all the time. Like the first time was cool cuz chakra and stuff, but we have not done much other than that so far except go to 2 hands at the same time. Can't believe so many people have been kicked out so far in class. Shira, our third musketeer from the day we had met, made an attempt at conversation. I, who for one wanted an excuse to not do the homework already, gladly took the opportunity. Yeah, at first no one left after the first few people, but then like 5 already left. Sure, they kinda sucked at taijutsu and the paper exercise, they could barely do it, but still. Something that was somewhat enjoyable to do was taijutsu, when you were the one not getting hit at least. It reminded me of the classes I took of karate when I was a kid. Except the kids here hit harder and are faster. Speaking of which, Shira is quite proficient at it. He has yet had a loss since his first battle, it's quite incredible. Shira turned red at the compliment. He is somewhat shy after all. No, I just get lucky shots, that's all. I flick an eraser bit to him, nailing him on the head. Hey, when Gaara gives you a compliment, that means something, alright? He rubs his forehead a bit then accepts it. Shira actually shares the same residence as us since he came here to the sand by himself. Since he didn't really have a place to stay, he went to the orphanage around the same time I left, which was something I found funny. Gaara decided to extend an invitation to stay here, and after a bit of convincing he relented. Sure, we go through food faster, but he isn't a burden in any sense of the word. Also, since I forgot to already say it, thanks for taking watch last night. Shira smiled this time, albeit a tired one, and was able to take the compliment. No problem, just remember tonight is your turn. I wave him off from that. Yeah, don't worry, I won't forget. Ever since Shira came here we have been able to set some sort of a watch in case Gaara starts to hear voices once again, as it seems to only happen at night mostly. It was just me doing it earlier, but to be honest it was taking a large toll on me, staying up most of the night all the time. So what are we making for food? Gaara and I shrug, both of us not piratically picky eaters. Maybe we can figure it out as we go? Some chicken in there perhaps? Shira takes a look of consideration and nods. Alright then, let's finish this homework so that way you can show us that idea you got. Damn, why did you have to bring us back to the homework? Fine, I wanted to show the idea that I had anyway. So what is your idea? I lead them into a dojo-looking area that has a large amount of room to fight and the like, and make a dramatic pose. Gentlemen, you recall that when we applied chakra to the paper back when we started we could make it stick, correct? They nodded at this, having just done it again yesterday for the umpteenth time. Well, if we could do the same to our hands, what's to say we can't do it with our feet? I gesture to the walls widely. Yes, what I am saying is that we can walk on walls if we tried hard enough. They both grew wide eyes and allowed smiles, Shira showing a larger one, but I know Gaara is equally excited. I walk to the wall and put my foot to it, letting the chakra flow to it, but I feel a rush of wind and my body meets the floor. After I just realized that I was blown across the room, I looked to my friends who had wide eyes. Well, I did say if we tried hard enough, right? Gah, thud, dang, I thought I had it that time. Shira pulled himself off the ground and walked back to his designated section of the wall. We've been going at this for a while with few results so far. We either fall down since we don't stick well enough to the wall, or we blast off to the other side. It's frustrating, but I assured them that this is a good idea, and it is. I mean, everyone and their mother used this to zip through trees in the anime, so it should be a good thing, right? This was one of the few things that I remember that we could do right off the bat, and that didn't take a lot of time. Shame I don't remember the hand signs for a bunch of justice in the show. Don't worry, Shira, we haven't had much progress either. I look at the wall after a few minutes of silent preparation and slowly make up my descent. I put my first foot forward. I tug a bit to make sure it sticks. I keep myself calm at the progress and put my next on it. It sticks. Guys, look, I gaw. As fast as I was able to finally get myself on there. Gravity seemed to pull down my body twice as fast, taunting me for breaking concentration. Never mind, I get back up and restart my mental preparation. Today, you all will be learning a jutsu. Some kids let out some excited murmuring but were stopped by the teacher's glare. I know I have already covered what they are and what they are capable of, so I won't waste my breath. Instead, I will use that time to show you what the jutsu is. He makes some rapid hand movements and a puff of smoke obscures our view. When it becomes more visible, gone was the teacher and in his place was a kid from the classroom. From this some woes were heard and one kid yelled out, "Wait, that's me." He reverts back to the teacher once again. This is the transformation jutsu, or as some would call it the henge jutsu, or simply henge. As long as you apply the proper amount of chakra and keep in mind who you want to transform very clearly, you can transform into anyone. It is a vital tool used by many in missions, so it would do you good to learn it. He walks over to the whiteboard and writes down some very well drawn hand signs, like dang, I wish I could draw that well. The hand signs needed are dog, boar, ram. In that order, so remember that well. It wouldn't do you good to try and attempt to create a new jutsu. He slaps down the piece of chalk down and strides in front of the classroom. Now, I want you for the rest of the day to visualize who you want to transform into, and if you feel confident enough, try to transform into them. Check for any anomalies, large or small. I will know if there are any when you demonstrate it to me coming the end of this week. We then filed out of the room, getting a wide berth from some of the other students. Joke's on them, we get to be the first to leave. Okay, I called transforming into Gaara. On the way home I started the process to set who transforms into whom. Then I get Shira, then. Gaara picked his next, leaving me to Shira. Guess I'll get to be you then. We nodded in agreement and tried to transform as we got home. We talked about some inane topics to fill in the time, having fun all the while. Transform. Once again I decided to get the jump on the two and transform at the earliest possible opportunity. I had already practiced the hand signs in order on the way home, so I know I have that down. I picture Gaara as clear as I can, and when the smoke settles I go to a mirror and look to see that I sucked at transformations. It looked like Gaara, if you squinted real hard, and if he looked like he was just beat up, that is. I had the hair down, but the face I had failed at. Most evidently the eyes, they looked like double black eyes instead of the rings he has. The rest of the face, it would be better not to dwell on that. I stop the jutsu and after giving it a moment I see that I look the same as I ever been. With brown hair and black irises to go along with my white skin, somewhat the norm in this village, I could blend right in here and possibly many other places around the elemental nations. I see my friends trying not to laugh at my attempt at it. Oi, stop laughing, it wasn't that bad. It really was. I know it, they know it. Fine, how about we all do it at the same time, huh? They nod, not trusting themselves to speak in their normal calm voices. On 3. 1, 2, 3. We all did the jutsu at the same time, producing more smoke than before, and when it cleared up, I was witness to a strange sight. There were two Shiras. Well, that wasn't accurate enough. One of them looked like crap and the other like normal. A Shira? Why didn't you transform into me? He looked at himself, then walked over to a mirror and gazed in confusion. Why am I not transformed? He made the hand signs again, but nothing. Not even smoke. He tried again and again, frantically speeding through them. I put my arm to his shoulder to calm him down. It's fine, we've got a week to master this. You won't get expelled, all right? He relaxes and looks at me with a smile. Thanks, that helped. I shake my head. No problem. Sides, least I can do since it's your turn today. He chuckled at that. You really like the bed, don't you? Shira asked, exasperated. I nodded sagely. Yes. Beds are a great thing, my friend. The comfiness is a good indicator why. You're out. Shira was frozen. His face like shattered ice. It seemed like his whole world to a stop, and I can't blame him. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why is he being thrown out? I stand between him and the teacher along with an attempt to keep my friend here. He's unable to perform one of the most simple jutsu available, and he had an ample amount of time to at least get a half-assed imitation. However, he wasn't able to even get any smoke at all. He would be a liability on the field and not be a proper ninja. I am doing this for his own good. Good at taijutsu he may be, but one cannot beat other ninja with only taijutsu. It's preposterous. No, it can't be like this. Before I could continue to argue against my teacher, I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was Shira. It's fine, Ren, I'll just wait for you guys back at the house, okay? He looked so hurt, it reminded me of Gaara when he came back to tell me about what happened to he and his uncle. Ren. He gives me a very small smile and shook his head. I already said I would be fine, just I'll be waiting for you guys there. He said all this with his back turned as he left out the door. I numbly get back into the line we made, and the room suddenly felt a lot emptier. Also cold, it felt very much cold. After this I started to glare at the teacher for the rest of the day. Was it childish? Yes. Do I care? Nope. When Gaara and I came back to the house, at first we didn't find Shira, which was concerning, but then we looked around and we found him in the training area. He was practicing taijutsu with some targets. Repeat 8 nanograms, many of the same moves so far. Shira? He stopped midway and turned to us, panting deeply, covered with sweat from likely being here since he got home. Hey guys. Shira replied, steadily calming his breathing down. What are you doing here? You've probably been doing this for a long while, so you should take a break. He shakes his head to that. I can't, I still want to be a ninja, so I will continue to improve my taijutsu. Just because I failed the transformation jutsu, doesn't mean I can't and go out to be a shinobi. And if to be a shinobi I have to improve only my taijutsu, then so be it. At least it's something I'm good at. He gave another weak smile like earlier and resumed back to where he was. Gaara and I look at each other and he gave me a placating look of, it will be fine, so I relent for now and we leave out. I believe you can do this, just don't forget you have us to help you, alright? We get some sort of noise as a reply and we exit the dojo. Now that I'm thinking of it, it somewhat reminds me of Rock Lee, except he never got expelled and got one of the most powerful sensei ever. The academy hasn't really felt the same since Shira got kicked out. Classes felt slow, lectures were more boring. It all around sucked. But since later the night Shira was thrown out of the academy, he made us promise to try and be the best in that class for him. We stuck with it and are trying to be the best. Surprisingly, it was easy to do. Although many are working hard to not get expelled, they don't really put in much effort beyond that. So we very quickly became the best in the majority of categories. I still have trouble with Japanese though, so that's one thing I'm not the best at. We have also learned some more jutsu. The clone and replacement jutsu. Both at different times PF course, and we tried to teach it to Shira once we were able to do it quite well. Curiously, he was able to use the replacement jutsu but not the clone, so I note that for later. Speaking of the replacement jutsu, it feels weird. That's the best as I can describe it when you use it. I definitely wasn't prepared for it the first time, so I had a weird feeling for quite a long time. For Gaara, he was also feeling weird, just to a lesser extent. Yeah, I will only be using that move for when I really need it. Only I feel the effect still, which is quite odd that I do. so it's only in emergencies now. I want you two to move to a higher class, you are both too advanced right now. I think it would be more beneficial if you were to move up. Our teacher, which I still haven't bothered to remember his name, had both Gara and I stay after class. Now I understand why, he wants us to skip grades so to speak. Well, that's good, right? What would that mean entirely? HMS then gets into his lecture mode. Well, it would mean many things. You get to skip many lectures that I both of you tend to drift off when listening for one. Drifting off is an understatement. We full-on played cards once since he had a particularly boring lecture and I for one couldn't be bothered. You also get to become an shinobi early. Normally we allow our shinobi to graduate at 16 so that way they are prepared for the more intense missions and can easily make it to Chunin otherwise. It also is a good use of resource management, but you don't need to concern yourself with that. He continues his pacing while looking at us all the while. Another is that you get more access to jutsu than you normally would. I know that you two will be able to survive in that class. I would find it a shame for you two to stay here and stagnate in your potential. He stopped pacing and looked at us. Like I said, the class will be harder but will have many benefits in there. You two start next week. Gara and I look at each other and give a little nod and we leave the classroom and head back to tell Shira the news. I am kinda nervous to see how he reacts to it. Oh, that's good. And I was worried for nothing. He was completely fine with it. He's not even hiding anything, as I or Gara would have been able to tell quite easily. You guys will get to be shinobi earlier, which is a good thing for you guys. All that means for me is that I need to step things up. I've been developing a new technique and I can feel so close to getting to it. I just need something else so I can use it. He said whilst eating some rice at the same time. We will still spar with you, Yano, right? He nods. I know, Ren, it's kind of a given at this point. Alright, just making sure. Now, are you going to be eating that piece of chicken? Shira shakes his head and hands me the piece of chicken. Yes, my power grows. For now I shall eat chicken, soon I will rule the world. Actually, that sounds like a lot of paperwork, so never mind. So does being a cage, so I'll stay being a shinobi for now. I kinda miss movies now. Normally I'm not much of a movie person, but I would think it would be nice to see one of the classics well in terms of superhero movies. Sure, they have movies here and they can do their own special effects, but they kinda suck compared to the ones I've seen, so I don't care very much for them. Oh well, back to gaining sustenance. Gara and I are currently standing outside a door. It's the door to our new classroom. I honestly don't know what to expect, but I guess that's why we are here, to learn. The teacher opens the door and allows us inside. As I said just now, we have two new students joining us. They are Ren and Gara, and they came here just in time. Today, we will be learning our elemental affinities and start training them. Can't believe I forgot about that, to be quite honest. You think I would remember something that would be really helpful in the long run. Now you two just sit there, at the two empty seats. We go over to two seats and just sit down, no one really near us, which wasn't new. The teacher passed some papers out to us and I got one, same with Gara. Before I could ask about them, the teacher beat me to the punch. Now these are special chakra papers. When you float chakra into them, it reacts to it in a certain way. Depending on your affinity is how it will react. This teacher doesn't pace while they talk, that's neat for my eyes. I don't have to follow them around for when I bother to listen to lectures. This has been a really reliable way on how to find your primary affinity. So I want you to flow your chakra into this and I will tell you your affinity and get you started on training it, as it is a long process and this will be a sort of long-term project for all of you. So don't get frustrated if you can't do it at first. It is a totally normal occurrence. I flow my chakra to my hand and into the paper, and when I look at it there was a cut right through the middle. If there is a cut, then you are of the wind affinity, one that is rare in many places, but more common here. If it crumbles a bit, then you are of the earth affinity. If lighting, then it would crinkle. And I believe you can figure out the last two for water and fire. He chuckles to himself at his own joke. I look to Gara to see what exactly his affinity is. I immediately widen my eyes. It had a cut in the middle and on one side there was crinkling and the other it was crumbling. Bull, I call bull. How does one have three natural affinities? I can understand two since he can control sand, but three? That's lucky. When the teacher came over he made a little gasp. Oh my, how unusual, 3 affinities. Not many have more than one, let alone 3. This will be quite difficult for you to master all three in this short amount of time, so I will allow getting one as passing. He handed both me and Gaara a rock each, which confused me. For training the wind affinity, the first step is to cut through this rock. You can take as long as you want, it isn't for doing it in one go, so chip away at it as you go. The teacher walks away to the other students. I look to my rock and try to picture some sharp wind cutting it. After a few times of doing that with chakra and trying to turn it into wind chakra, I look at the rock to see only the smallest of dents. Yeah, this is going to take a while. Looking at my opponent, I take in what I can to help me win. Using my small frame, I get into their space and take a strike once I saw an opening. They leapt back, and unfortunately, since we can't use chakra in any way, I have no chance to utilize a new move I came up with that I can use to quickly get to them and catch them off surprise. So instead it became a sort of game of them trying to keep away and find an opening and me chasing them and doing the same. Taijutsu spars in class were always a chore. I like it better when I could do it against Shira or Gaara, despite not really being able to physically hit him. I get tired of this whole cat and mouse shtick and decide to leave an opening. My opponent, still a child, mentally thought that I had finally slipped, so they decide to charge in and take advantage and win. I decide to capitalize on that mistake in a very painful way for them. Once they got in close, I throw dirt into their eyes and immediately hit them in the gut. Successfully winding them, I sweep the legs down and hold them to the ground, giving no chance of getting up. Stop. The winner of this match is Ren. Our teacher called out and I stop pushing down and taking out the opponent's breath. Polite clapping is heard by me and I let go to the defeated foe. He gets up and starts inhaling heavily while trying to get the sand out of his eyes. Gah, fuck, why did you have to throw sand in my damn eyes? I look at the guy suffering there using his shirt. Hey, we are training to be shinobi, right? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I gave him a smile despite the fact he can't hear me and just walked back next to where Gaara was sitting, a nice clear area devoid of any people, the usual. Hey, how did I do? Plopping down next to my friend, I looked to see how I could improve. You did rather well, although you could have slipped a fake opening sooner. It would have saved you more time and led to a more swift battle. I nod slightly. Yeah, but I thought they would mess up sooner or later or just get frustrated and give me a chance. But then I decided to do that since I don't like drawn-out battles when I could be doing something else. I would very much rather train my affinity and make it better. It's been slow going for me, but apparently I am going really fast compared to my fellow wind users. I guess changing how I saw the wind really helped, huh? So far it's been a year and I have been able to get through the whole rock while the rest are still halfway through it. Now I'm working on cutting through it faster than one cut. After I am able to do that, I'll be told the next step. Don't think it will be the waterfall step that Naruto did though, kinda hard to find a waterfall in a desert after all. Looking idly at my hand, which has cut scars from weapons and my wind alike, I felt it a better use than watching the other kids spar. It was always the same thing, the same kids won and the same kids lost. Rarely some do win or lose respectively on occasion, but they don't seem to push themselves as hard as Shira does in taijutsu. And having a really motivated taijutsu practitioner as a partner for training tends to transfer over to your own skills. Simply put, just by being Shira's training partner, I am already better than the rest of my classmates, aside from Gaara of course. Granted, he still kicks my ass with no problem, and don't get me started on his new technique he developed recently. Every time he uses it I get sore like no other. Damn chakra blocking jabs, how horrible art they? Hey, Shira, can we not practice with you using the chakra blocking techniques tonight? Shira looks up and thinks about it, and to my infinite relief he nodded. Yeah, I actually came up with something I wanted to try. Only for that relief to turn into complete dread. Fuck, last time he said that I felt sore for a week from having my chakra blocked then unblocked after the spar. Since I am a supportive friend, however, I decided to submit to my fate. He can't really use these effectively against Gaara since, again, his sand protects him whether he wants to or not. But if you don't want to, that's fine as well. Looking at him with resignation, I think to myself that no, it wouldn't be fine. I can hear the hesitant way he said it and I can't really say no. Really hard doing that, feels like kicking a puppy down, so I kinda have to say yes. I sigh heavily, fully knowing I will regret this for days to come. No, it's fine. He lights up in a way only a child can before he calms himself. Very well, then we shall spar in a while. He tried composing himself and portraying himself like one of those calm and collected types, but it kind of fails when you are buzzing with excitement. Alright then. Okay, so what do you want to try out? Standing in the room that has been the cause of much of my pain, I was ready to receive more on this day. Shira shifting one foot and the other, he thought of what he was going to go about it. Well, I came up with a new technique to make me stronger and faster. I so far on stage 1 halfway made. Why'd I hear fucking boss music? Not really, but still, this is giving me some Mad 8 Inner Gates vibes and I've no clue why. Okay, give me a second, I still have a hard time starting this so far. He takes a stance and steadies his breathing before inhaling very large amounts of air. I could hear a whisper from him. 7 heavenly breathing first activation. After he uttered that last word, his eyes went white and there was a yellow aura around him just encasing his entire body. Going TK, be completely honest here, I am really regretting not just denying this when I had the chance. He stepped forward, then he vanished. I also felt a large impact at my center. It completely winds me and I opened my mouth to gasp for air, spittle flying everywhere. Before I could regain the oxygen I just lost, however, momentum decided to step in at that moment in the form of me flying straight into the wall. GHH. That was the only noise I was able to let out in the impact. After that I just had no air to be able to talk. I just sat there, trying to breathe from the sheer force of the attack. Thankfully Shira had stopped, with his glowing eyes and yellow aura not present. Oh Ren, I'm so sorry. I didn't expect that I would hit that hard. Are you okay? I hold up a hand to tell him to wait and I give myself time to recuperate. Why, yeah, I'm fine, just got winded is all. Did not expect you to hit that hard or go that fast. That was insane. He smiled at that. Thanks, I came up with it to help me with the gap that will be there with other shinobi. Damn, that goes beyond a gap closer if you ask me. And did he say first activation earlier? Yeah, that'll do it. And this is the first activation? I can see you becoming really powerful, Shira, so don't worry about what other people say. His smile became brighter from the encouragement I was giving. Okay, can we try it again please? I promise I'm going to be slower this time. ANND, it's back to the pain. Fine, since you asked so nicely. I said this with tears going down my face, accepting my fate for what it was. Ren, are you crying? No, I'm just allergic to being winded. I finally got the cut to go through the rock in one go. Let's fucking go. Sure, I accidentally cut myself in the process, but it'll heal. Bringing my rock to the teacher as evidence, I now want to get started on the next step. Hey, teach, I finally got the rock split in one go. My teacher looks at me, some sort of mix of emotions that I can quite place. Oh okay, that's excellent. I didn't expect someone to get it down that fast. After the wind users had cut their rocks, they would have learned a few basic wind jutsu to practice. I suppose you can practice the next step whilst you wait for everyone to catch up? Getting ahead even more? Score. Yeah, we can do that then. The teacher leads me outside after he told the class he would be right back. I wonder why we are out here. For your next step, normally you would try and cut a waterfall, but as you can see we don't have any of those. I nod my head at that obvious piece of info. Now, this alternate step is harder and longer to accomplish it, but the benefits you reap are great. Okay, then what is it? Just spit it are already, enough with the leading up to it. I guess becoming a kid has absolutely ruined any sense of patience I had, it seems. For the next step you will be cutting through the sand. He gestured to all around us and the floor. Huh? Okay, but why? Since is it hard to cut through sand in general, but also without blowing a bunch of it in your face, you will be trying to make a cut of 5 feet deep without blowing up sand. Okay? With that he left back into the classroom. Guess it's just me and the sand, huh? I put both hands on it and visualize how I've been doing it with the rock. Fuck, my eyes. Now I know why people don't like it when I throw it in their eyes. Phewick. I spent the rest of the day trying not to get sand in my eyes and painfully wiping out all the failures. It's been who knows how many days of me getting sand into my eyes. After a few days of me doing this by myself, Gaara had joined me on this venture, quickly being able to cut his rock in full after me. Fortunately for him, sand doesn't bother him in any way, so he's fine. I needed to get sand goggles to fucking not get it in my eyes. They were a nice pair of sand goggles. They were a blue pair and had a good amount of durability and didn't feel uncomfortable. They were nice. They protected me from the cruel sand. No wonder Anakin hated it so much. Don't get me wrong, I still think it would cool to have a PWER to control it. I just very much dislike it when it gets into my eyes, like any normal person would. How much progress have you made, Gaara? Seeing as you didn't have to rub your eyes every 5 seconds, I believe you had a good amount of progress so far. He stopped trying to cut the gripund and looked at my direction. I've made some good progress. I still need to work on lowering how much sand gets picked up, though I can make it go back down quickly manually instead. Hey, don't try to cheat. If I'm going to suffer this, then so shall you. He didn't seem bothered by that, quite frankly. That's alright. I don't think I can win against him, can I? Nothing I say can faze him aside from the emotionally damaging ones, but I really don't want to do that to him. Speaking, or rather thinking of emotionally damaging, Gaara has been having rougher nights lately. And this is with help as well. I fear how it would have been if he was alone. I went back to cutting the sand, that way I can get it out the way and hopefully get some wind jutsu early and get those powered up or something. Gah, how in the world do I still get it in my eyes when I'm wearing goggles? Ren, there's a gap in them. Really? I'm stupid. It's weird, the time I've spent during the academy has been paradoxically fast yet long. I've been able to accomplish many things, and I can firmly say that in a classroom full of older kids I am the best. Barring Gaara, of course, with his BS sand blocking everything I have so far that isn't lethal. During the time that I was learning, the next step of wind mastery can be summed up to just waiting. Waiting for everyone else to catch up, waiting to make myself a solution to cutting the sand, and just plain ol' waiting. I really wish at times that I still had music or something to help distract me and pass the time quickly or just numb my brain. I miss it, to be quite frank, popping headphones in and listening to my favorite tunes while I did work or even was just laying down trying to lull myself to sleep. I thought of this while the teacher droned on about how exemplary shinobi we were and that we should be proud, yada yada yada. I could care less. I just want to know who I will be on a team with. Sure, they said that the strongest students would be on a team together, but who's to say that I won't be completely screwed over? Like it was a ruse to get everyone to do their best and get on the best team, and that was the goal all along, but that would be lame. The teacher stopped his droning and clapped his hands together, which was really fucking loud somehow. Alright, now to the part that I know all of you are waiting for, team formations. The small class started to give rise to a cacophony, reverberating around the walls. Excitement and dread could be heard from them. Now, it took some time, but we were able to make the teams. Now here they are. As the teacher started to list teams off, I somewhat drifted off, waiting for my name to be called. I thought of the graduation exam. They were kinda easy, to be quite honest. For the first one, we had a sparring match, but we could use any jutsu we knew in this. Unfortunately for my opponent, I had the longest and fastest time to work of my wind nature. I may not be the best, but I certainly was leagues above these guys. I also was finally able to use a move that I had long been wanting to use in one of these. It was a move that I hope was something original. I call it the chakra dash. I took it from the idea that when you put too much chakra on a surface you want to stick to, you get blown off. I thought, why couldn't I use that on the ground? And when I tried it, I had results. I kinda got my head through a wall, but they were results nonetheless. I had practiced with that, so I can essentially boost myself forward as a sort of surprise and catch people off guard. I was right when I had used it against someone that wasn't Gaara, Shira, or a wall. It did catch people off guard. I had flown up to his face and was able to give a flurry of punches, taking use of the painful chakra pressure point jabs that Shira so loved to use against me. He taught me in pity. The poor teen didn't stand a chance, and he was writhing on the floor, from the punches and his blocked chakra. Now, before this whole worldly displacement, I would not be able to stomach hurting another. I didn't get into fights. But ever since coming here it was easier. Was it the lack of punishment I would get? Or did something get taken that held me back from throwing a punch back in my homeworld? Who knows? All I know is that I felt no pity for him for the most part. I didn't really know him either way, much less his name. After that, the tests were just essentially showing what we knew and applying them. Like the 3 basic jutsu and also one for our chakra nature. I guess you can say that when it was my turn that I really blew them away. Ha, puns. Thanks to Gaara's uncle just having a small library of jutsu scrolls, we were able to learn some of the basic ones. Right now we are working on some useful looking ones that are not in our affinity range. Progress is slow. We have been able to get advice on how to train them, but it really is taking a long time to train them. Now I know why they said why it took many years for this. It was fucking hard. For the next team, it will be Tamari, Gaara, and Ren. I look to my longtime friend in this world and give him a smile. We are on the same team. The other name sounded familiar, but right now the priority was to celebrate. Well, actually that's for at home, but the sentiment is the same. Your Jonin sensei is Baki. Ah, another name that I don't know how wonderful. After waiting for our Jonin to come in, ours was the first one to come in. Gaara, Ren, and Tamari, I am your Jonin, come with me. He was a tall man, with a gruff voice and a stern face with red markings covering one side. The other was covered by his turban held up by his headband. I had mine on my forehead as well, and Gaara had it on an arm. He walked right outside the door and we followed suit. He took to the streets setting a brisk pace, people letting him have a path. When Gaara and I, walking side by side, went through the streets, they gave us a wide berth, not wanting to be near us. That was normal, and quite frankly can be useful. Time for waiting in lines? Almost nil. Sure, I wanted to punch in all of the faces of the people who avoided Gaara and all that, but I took advantage of their mean-spirited actions. Arriving to our destination, it was a training field, one of many I'm sure. I personally never used them as I had the room at Gaara's house to be beaten black and blue, thank you very much. Now, what we will be doing is sparing to see where you are all at. I will personally be sparing you all one at a time, so come at me with the intention to kill. I feel bad for the poor soul that would go against him first, except if Gaara went he would be fine. But yeah, Baki would be fresh and ready so he could dispatch his opponent with easy. Obviously, he's a Jonin and we are Genin. Ren, you are up first. Oh, come fucking on. Fine, I attempt to not be beaten that hard. I will at least do something against him. Or try to. I stand face to face with him and I feel fear. Why would I not? This guy is a full-fledged ninja, and while I could beat my classmates with ease, I severely doubt they have killed people like this man has or at all. Before he could even give me a signal to start, I rushed towards him using the chakra dash to hopefully catch him off guard. I take out a kunai and drive it towards an important area so he would block it, which would give me an opening to punch him. I start the execution and he blocks my kunai with one of his own. But then he pivots away, and I miss the punch. Damn, I immediately dash back to prevent any counter he might have. Interesting, so you came up with a way of accelerating quickly to catch people off guard. Good, you were able to use your chakra to help bridge the gap between us. Unfortunately, I have faced much faster shinobi, you will have to move faster than that. And with that he started to make a beeline towards me. Had I not been accustomed with fighting Shira, then it would have been nothing but a blur. Fortunately, Shira is faster and I have been able to prevent myself from getting beat easily by him now. I can actually hold my own now with him. I shifted my body around and made a countermeasure once my teacher came forward, this time actually surprising him. And I tried using a jutsu on him, one of the ones from a scroll I saw, air bullet. I make the bird seal and shoot out multiple air bullets out to him from my mouth. It's sort of shotguns, spreading out, but with the close proximity he has they all hit him. I feel proud of myself for a good few seconds until I hear a poof and in his place was a log. How are there logs in a desert? More importantly, fuck, I thought I had him. But no, he decided to substitute away. Enough, I have been able to assess your skill. Stand back off to the side. Damn, I really wanted to keep going only to land a good punch on him, cuz that pissed me off. I thought I pulled that off perfectly and it turns out it was all a ruse. A ruse, I say. Ruse. I walk back with a rain cloud over my head and stand next to Gaara. He gave me a small pat on the shoulder to console me. You'll get him next time. Yeah, maybe you can hold him down with your sand while I get a clear shot of him. He contemplated this for a moment and I knew he was seriously considering this. Gaara, I was kidding. Oh, okay. Baki now called up for the next opponent, which was the chick Tamari, and I can't help but think that she looks familiar. Maybe an important character in Naruto? I honestly don't remember as much as I probably should from the anime at this point. It's literally been 12 years, and as great of a memory I have, it tends to be hard to remember many hours of a show and every single character. It really doesn't help that I mostly remember the more obscure parts in the show, like Rock Lee drunk fighting, or Gaara standing on that tree upside down when he was first introduced, or even the process of the Rasengan. Wait a minute, I know how to recreate one of the coolest moves in Naruto. In my opinion, I should be trying to do this. I mean, if Naruto could do it in a week with all his chakra, then surely I should be able to do it, right? I also vaguely remember how there was a next step and something about adding a chakra nature to it. Hey, if the op move could be made more op and I know how to, who am I to complain? Enough, I have seen what I needed to. Oh, the fight for Gaara and the chick are over. Whoops, I look over and see Gaara walk over to me, and now I feel bad that I didn't watch. Sorry Gaara, I got lost with a new idea I had. Gaara didn't look that offended, he still had his neutral face on. That's fine, you will have to tell me about it later though with Shira. Oh, that would be cool to see Gaara using a Rasengan but made of sand or something. I wonder how strong that would be. I want you all to come back here tomorrow in the morning packed and ready. We will be heading out for our first mission. It might take a week, so be prepared. Be here first thing in the morning. You are dismissed. We left as we normally did and started walking home, and I decided to write down what I could remember in a notebook so I don't get screwed over just in case. Congratulations guys. When we got home there was a party all set up for us, with Shira at the center. Gaara and I both were surprised at it. The party was just the three of us, but I think that we can still have a good time. We always do regardless. He led us to the kitchen where a small modest cake was sitting there. Despite the size, I was touched by the gesture. We didn't really celebrate birthdays much during the time we were living together. As for one, I don't know when mine is, and the others didn't want to make a big deal out of it. We still gave each other gifts and everything, but never a cake until now. Wow, this looks like an awesome cake. Did you make it yourself? Shira shuffled at the compliment and looked down with a smile visible. Yeah, I wanted to celebrate you guys graduating, so I made this. He stood by the cake and cut a few slices, one for each of us, and put them on some plates. He gave us one and we grabbed a fork to eat it. When I took a bite I felt my taste buds explode in flavor. I had forgotten just how long it's been since I ate a cake. Definitely more than 12 years, which is quite a long time to not eat this deliciousness. I really like it, Shira. I gave my compliments to Shira and he brightened up at that. I also like this, you did a good job. Gaara also gave his compliments. Soon after we had some games and all around fun together, and we made the most of it for now since Gaara and I have to leave on our first mission for a whole week. After all was said and done, Gaara and I started to get our stuff together. It was quite a bit and would be troublesome to lug it around, but then I remembered that when we had taken stock of everything in the house we had some storage scrolls. At first I had no clue what they were, neither did Gaara or Shira. But then when I had asked a teacher they told me what it was. It was a storage scroll, used for storing things. We put an object we want in there and applied chakra to the scroll and it would suck it in. When you wanted it back all you had to do was apply chakra and everything would come out. Some, you can be able to take out however many you want at a time, but the one we had was the former where everything would go out. We decided to put in our items for the trip in there, including some food and water just in case, as well as some money. After that we did some light training, ate, then went to bed. This time with Shira taking watch. I had gotten into the bed that I have been for the past few years and I made myself comfortable. I had to catch up on some sleep, who knows if we will get some on the mission. Alright, it is now time for us to get to the same training ground as yesterday. I quickly shot up from bed, went into the kitchen to make some food, and went to go get Gaara as well. Gaara, I'm making you some eggs, okay? Silence at first, but then a silent okay makes its way to my ears. I nod, then walk back to the kitchen and grab the pan, then the eggs, which holds the source for delicious food. Cracking the eggs into a cup, I whisked it up with a fork, able to whisk it better than I could have in my past life, faster too. I placed some butter around the pan, letting it get all around it. After that, I poured the whisked eggs into the pan and started to cook it. Not much you can really do with that. When cooked, I placed the eggs on 3 plates and grabbed some bread and placed it on the plates. I normally would have made it into toast, but I forgot to do that, so regular bread would have to do. Food's ready. I made some for you too, Ren. I heard 2 okays and they shambled over to the kitchen. I placed the plates in front of the chairs and they sat down and started to eat. We ate in relative silence as they were tired. Pulling an all-nighter does that. I liked how the eggs turned out, but they are quite easy to make. Still, I like how they taste and that's what matters. So Shira, what are you going to do while we are gone? Shira looked up from his plate, face stuffed with food. He took a second to swallow it, then spoke. Probably some more training, there's not much more I can do. I have to be good enough to be a shinobi like you guys after all. Well, yeah, that sounds like him. Training all the time to be good enough. I think he's good enough, however. Heck, he could probably give our new sensei a run for his money, and the guy's a jonin. I'm actually close to mastering the first activation. After that I will make and practice a second activation. I gulp audibly at that. A second activation? I don't think my body can handle that without a few bones breaking. I like my bones, it would be very nice if they never broke. Just like my past life. I've seen how much it hurts. No, I do not want my bones to be shattered into a fine powder. After finishing up our food, we grabbed our stuff and were at the doorway saying our goodbyes to Shira for the week. It would be the longest we have been away from another friend. I've grown used to the same routine as usual, and now that will be broken. Well, at least we get some cash from that. Bye Shira, we'll miss you. I definitely did not give him a tear-filled hug. Nope, I just happened to be allergic to goodbyes. Yeah, that's it. Shira laughed at that and patted me on the back. Don't you think it should be me missing you? You guys will be busy the whole time. I'll just be here doing what I normally do. Yeah, but still, I'll still miss ya. As will I. Gaara piped up. Shira let out a nice smile. Content that he had good friends like the one hugging him and totally not crying at all. Getting to the field, we were ready with our scroll with everything in my possession, and we sat there waiting for the others to show up. As we were bored and it's better to do something than just sit there, I took out a deck of cards and started to play with Gaara. And that's how it went for a while, as just playing as the sun slowly rose, shining its light on the field that we were on. Finally after a while the blonde chick came. Took her long enough. What? How did you guys get here before me? Not looking up from my hand of cards, I just speak up from there. By waking up early then getting here? She made a noise of frustration. No, I meant that I woke up when the sun was barely up and started coming here after that. What time did you guys even come here at? I shrug, not particularly caring in any case. I dunno, we got here when the sun hadn't come out yet and we played cards to wait for you guys. There was a pause in the air. You guys played cards in the dark? How does that work? Mess with her? Yeah, mess with her. Well, you look at the cards, duh. I got a small snort coming from Gaara and a smile, while from the girl she made a noise that sounded like someone was being strangled. Alright, that is enough dawdling. Now that you are all here we can start with the mission. When did he get here? Oh, he's good. Baki, appearing from seemingly nowhere, now stood in front of us and was ready for action. Now, for our mission. We will be going to the Hidden Grass Village and escorting a merchant to the Hidden Stone Village and protect him from any possible bandits. Any questions? The chick spoke up and voiced her questions or concerns. Yeah, why would we need to escort a merchant from Hidden Grass if they already have shinobi there? Yeah, true. Why do we have to do the work they can do? Well, despite all their skills in diplomacy and the like, they tend to not want involvement with the Hidden Stone on account of them being invaded during the Third Shinobi War. They won't send shinobi there if they can help it. And while we are allied with the Leaf, the Hidden Stone is somewhat neutral towards us. Okay, that'll do it, being invaded that is. Now we must be on our way for this C-rank mission. He started to take off towards a direction that I had no clue where it went. I followed anyway with Gaara right next to me. We ran through the streets until he took to the roofs and we followed, taking a large leap up. Jumping from roof to roof, I still had no clue where we were going until I saw a large archway with a gap in the middle, which I assume is the exit entrance. We stopped at the foot of the gap and there were two shinobi there standing guard. One looked really relaxed and the other didn't. They looked like if they moved a wrong way something could blow up. Baki, new team, I see. Already going for a mission? The relaxed and older shinobi spoke. Yes, Mushi, I tested them and they were sufficient enough for it. The now named Mushi stroked his graying beard. I see, so looking at this mission assignment you will be doing an escort? A good C rank to start them off with. Builds a good foundation of what to expect in the ninja world. Uncle, stop messing around with the guy, we need to guard this. The younger, more volatile shinobi was eager to see us off, it seemed. At that the uncle laughed. Haha, forgive my nephew, Junior is new to the guarding post and merely wants to do his best. I tell him not to worry, but he believes an enemy could show up at any moment. Baki waves his hand. None taken. Now if you'll excuse us we will be heading off now. Mushi stamps the scroll and we head off. While running through the sands I thought of how nice it would be to be a guard, as I'm sure it is a really relaxed position to be had. I mean, look at Mushi, he was really relaxed. And that was how it went for the meanwhile, as running and me picturing what I could do after surviving the Chunin exam/invasion in the Leaf. Another stray thought occurred to me. Hey Gaara, since we won't be near sand, maybe you should take some with you just in case? Like a gourd or something like that. He nodded, and while running he gathered sand and coalesced it into a large gourd with sand filling into it. It looked scarily similar to the one in the anime, but instead of those weird symbols it had a some that read friends and friendship. I was personally touched by it. I like the gourd, Gaara, it looks cool. He smiled a small smile and we kept on running. Of course, I had my goggles on, which I feel like it was a good move as I heard the Tamari chick making some noises of frustration and irritation from sand. I get to have clear eyes and run in style. Thank you, cool goggles. We ran until nightfall, and we were able to get out of the seemingly endless desert at one point and cross into a new territory. It was one that I hadn't seen in many years. Plant life and rain. If I wasn't participating in a mission right now, then I would be rejoicing and playing around in the rain. It really has been so long. Even where I lived it rained a few times. In Suna I can't remember when it had rained at any point. The other two looked amazed at it. Gaara looked like someone had showed him a whole new world. And for all intents and purposes it's true. All he had known was the hot, dry, sandy deserts of Suna, and now he's something that was the clear opposite. It was wet, cool, and grassy, a complete contrast. It was one that I liked personally. For Gaara? Not so sure. What do you think of this? Gaara looked at me with wide eyes. I think it's beautiful. This is completely different from home. I nodded at that. I looked ahead and we were running to a small outpost where there were people milling about. When we got there, slowing down our pace to a more civilian walk, gradually we walked through the town until we got to an inn. When we got inside, our sensei ordered 3 rooms. One for the Tamari chick, one for himself, and the third for both Gaara and I to share. We all got our own keycard and headed off to our rooms. I wanted to just take off my clothes and take a hot shower, but before I could do that I had an idea, reminder of something that could help me a bunch. Hey Gaara, I'm going to go get something at a store real quick, alright? He nodded and I left for a store, taking some money with me. Inside the store I looked around for what I needed. I grabbed a bunch of empty balloons and some rubber balls. I took them to the store clerk and dropped them off there. The clerk raised an eyebrow at me. What's a ninja going to do with balloons and rubber balls? I acted nonchalantly and decided to tell the truth, as it would be too ridiculous to believe. Would you believe me if I said that I was going to use it to make a powerful technique? The man paused, then laughed. And people say shinobi don't have a sense of humor. Fine, keep your secrets to yourself then. I handed him the money and I took them with me as I went out back into the cold. I honestly can't wait to get back into the room and have a nice hot shower, then go into the warm blankets. I should have bought some hot cocoa if they had any. It would have been nice to drink some with Gaara in the room. Who says I can't go back and check? Turning back I went into the store and looked for it. There was no hot cocoa. My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. I've missed plant life so. And while the rain was starting to get on my nerves, I was very much starting to enjoy the change of scenery this mission has provided. Kinda still disappointed there was no hot cocoa whatsoever in the shop. After asking the clerk dude about it, he informed me that they always sell out whenever they get new shipments of them. Hopefully there will be some in the other stops? Like in the hidden grass? Who knows, better not get my hopes up. Running through the forest with my team. We kept the same quick pace we had yesterday, covering more ground than we did in the desert, for obvious reasons. I hope we get out of the rain soon. All this rain is getting to me quickly, and I can't do much in this rain aside from just running. I still don't really know much of the blonde chick, Tamari. She really does look familiar, and I feel that once I remember I will feel beyond stupid. The grass was an interesting place to say the least. It looked like it was surrounded by the tall grass in Pokemon. Can I find a Pikachu? Doubtful, but I will keep a lookout just in case. Right now we were still, you guessed it, running. The grass was hitting us, but Bucky hasn't said anything, so I guess we just keep going? I yawned as I had stayed up with Gaara last night. I did get a few hours of sleep though, so I should be good for a while. Alright, now as I had said earlier before we departed on this mission. The residents here are skilled at diplomacy and the like, so it is hard to get a read on them for the most part. Therefore I will do all the talking. Many have been swindled by shop owners, being sold something at a much higher price than normal and they don't even realize it. That sounds like my world, but with apps and the like. All the swindling and scamming and people don't even realize it. Guess no hot cocoa? Dang, there is always the final destination, I guess? As we ran some more, I started to see something that were not of the green or brown variety out in the distance. They were buildings. Finally, something other than grass. I thought I would get sick of it from being smacked in the face so much by it. Now, remember what I said, just let me do all the talking. We got to the gate and there were two people who were also shinobi, but you couldn't really tell what they were feeling. It was hard to pinpoint, it wasn't emotionless, just something else. Halt, what business do you have with Kusa? One of the two stopped us with the second very much calm, or at least I think so. It really is hard with the way they carry themselves and their faces. It really didn't help that the guy's voice was just as descriptive of him as his face, which was none at all. We are here on official business. Our purpose is to complete the request to safely escort a merchant to the Hidden Stone Village. Our teacher, who I technically can't call a teacher since he has yet to teach us a thing, calmly and concisely replied. He was just as stoic as the other. Maybe that is why he is doing the talking. I mean, he would fit right in from what I've seen thus far in this really limited interaction. He handed over the same scroll that got stamped by Mushi, I think was his name. After the guard looked at it, he handed it to his companion, who also went over it, then stamped it, passing it back, and the first guard passing it back to Baki. You're all clear, don't try any trouble in the village and you will be fine. This last piece of advice was given with the same tone he had been going the whole time. To this Baki nodded and strolled into the city. We all followed suit into the city. Inside it looked like it had much more substance to it than the other village we have been to. That made sense, more people lived here and they probably had hot cocoa. There were a bunch of people meandering the streets, all going to a new destination. Most of the hair colors you could see were brown and black. Curiously, I could see one red head bobbing throughout the sea of people. It was more dark than Gara's was for sure. Finally, after much walking and running, we have done it. We can now start the mission. Dang, that was less satisfying than I thought it would be to say. We walked into a small building and in there greeted us a man. He looked quite lean and fit, and he looked like a young adult along with brown hair. He wore some well-worn but somewhat rich-looking clothes. Ah, hello ninja. I see you are here to escort me? This is the merchant we are escorting? I thought merchants were more big-boned than this guy. I had cultivated the image of a big-boned man that was jovial and had money to burn, and that's why he had us escort him. Oh, excuse me, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Haruto and I am the merchant you will be escorting. He's really polite. I think I had read way too many novels and the like if I really thought that many merchants were either happy fat men or one of the most vile greedy people there. Understood, do you have everything you need with you? Baki replied after the introduction. The man, Haruto, nodded. Yep, I have it all, it's right outside. We followed him and outside there were carriages galore. He went to one and gestured it. This is my carriage that has the cargo, ain't she a beauty? Looking at it I guess it looked nice, but I don't really see much in it. Beauty truly is in the eye of the beholder, Now we shall set off in a bit, just let me get my driver. Then we will be on our way. He walked off quickly and we stood around for a bit. I took the opportunity to relax. Then I remembered about the water balloons. I pulled one out from a pocket, went inside a bathroom after excusing myself and filled up a few balloons with water. I went out and then just waited for the guy to get back. I can feel that this will take a long time to get to our final destination. Slosh, swish, slosh, clop. These were the same things I heard for the time that we have been on the escorting. The sloshing was from the balloon having the water moving around on my account. I remember I'm supposed to make it burst, but I can't really quite remember. What I do know is that it doesn't burst pathetically. Actually, playing with the water inside it was pretty fun. I can make it go fast or slow. Well, it goes slow when I make it spin left rather than right for some reason. The clopping is from the infernally slow horses drawing the carriage. We shinobi were outside of it and just walking each on one side. I was on the bottom left of the carriage area. Baki said that we needed to do that to ensure the safety of the merchant. I get that. But why do we have to be so fucking slow? Even before I got all this speed and fitness level in this life, I could easily outpace this in my old body. Gosh, at least I get to practice with the Rasengan. What are you doing, Mr. Shinobi? I look up from the balloon and see the merchant sticking out his head of the carriage. Ah, this? I'm just moving around the water in the balloon with my chakra. It's good practice. Yes, BS mode never fails. Although it probably is good for practice. So, why are you going to Iwa? Just out of curiosity. He had a smile on his face. It's not a problem, I actually live there. I bring wares from multiple areas to there. I have shinobi escort me always as they are more reliable than just guards. That's why he's all good around certified killers for pay. I see. Then why don't you have someone from Iwa pick you up? He shook his head at that, the brown bangs moving with his head. It's not that simple. Kusa does not allow Iwa to have ninja in the village. They can barely let them be near it to drop me off. He sighs at that. That is why I contact the sand, despite the relations it has with the leaf. Iwa tolerates them for the most part. Yeah, didn't Naruto's dad literally killed a whole bunch of people from Iwa really quickly? I can see why they wouldn't like the leaf. Oh okay, then how long have you been doing this? He laughed quietly, from my question. Well, I guess it hasn't really been long, has it? It's been like a few years. I'm taking over for my father who taught me everything I needed to know. He wanted me to take over and get some experience. If I may ask, how long have you been a shinobi? This time it was my turn to laugh. Well, this is actually my first mission. But don't worry, we are the best graduates, so we are fully capable of taking on some thugs or anything like that. He had a more of amused expression rather than the worried one I would have gotten if I was told that the people I hired were rookies and new to the job. Yes, I remember last year when some kids told me it was their first mission. I freaked out at first, but I was fine when they were able to escort me with no problems whatsoever. With nothing else to really talk about between the two of us, he went back into the carriage and I went back to the balloon, trying to pop it with little success. Okay fine, so I went back to playing with it, alright? So what if I am being entertained by something really easily? I have the actual excuse of being a kid. Right before I could actually do this seriously, I heard a pop and felt water hit me downwards. I see that the balloon was popped with a shuriken in the ground. Knowing full well that my sensei is a hardass and wouldn't do that, I could only go to one conclusion: an attack. We are currently under attack. Hey, we are under attack. I yell extra loud just in case they can hear me, and we all jump into action. I see a bunch of people surrounding us, getting out of hiding places, some with slashed out headbands from an assortment of villages. On my end I could count at least 3. Alright, don't freeze up and kill with prejudice. Our teacher had yelled this out to us. Don't let them get to the client, no go. And so I dashed forward to the 3 ready for the long fight that will ensue. Dashing to the 3 in front of me, I hit the one on my left. He skidded back a few paces until he fell on his back and slid on it. Thank you, Chakra Dash. I turned to the other 2 who were still ready to fight. I take out a kunai and it clashes against the sword of one. Pushing back, I struggled to push back, so I try and get clever, so I spit into his face, effectively blinding him and distracting him. With that, I disarm him from his katana. This truly is an anime world, where the thugs have katanas rather than other swords. Hitting him with the blunt part of the kunai at his face, he puts his hands on there to try and quell down the pain by at least a margin. I don't stop there. Nope, I kick him to the ground by doing a spin kick, which I felt proud of if I do say so myself. I then check my surroundings to see if there is anyone else hiding or trying to get the jump on me, and see that Baki had a bunch of people on him. Okay, I know that it makes it easier on me and he is a bigger threat, but come on. Looking back to battle to not be distracted, I see that the guy who hit the floor got up and he gestured to another. Really? They are really going to just fight me one at a time? That is highly unrealistic and ineffective. Not that I'm complaining. I punch the other and follow up with a kick right up his. Yeah, that. We all felt that, me, the guy who saw it, and most definitely the guy who just got kicked. Seeing him squeal on his way down, I felt an iota of guilt, but I had to give my condolences at a later date. The other dude who I hit firstly was now making his way to me. Okay, so aside from straight up murder, I have to find a way to stop these guys. Pondering on what I can do that won't just kill them with what I have in my arsenal of jutsu. Wind really do be a killer. Listing them off, I gazed at my kunai, then it hit me. Or rather, it will hit them. Yes. Good ol' blunt force trauma saving the day once again. Using Chakra Dash but more carefully and not with reckless abandon, I maneuvered behind one of them and utilizing the blunt side of the kunai, I just ram it into their head. This elicited a gargling noise from them as they fell face first onto the ground. They two other thugs looked from the guy on the floor, then to me, then back, and back one more time. I just smiled at them, waving my kunai menacingly towards them. Do you guys want to have a taste of a kunai to the head? They shook their heads no, and they grabbed their friend and ran off with a dust cloud being kicked up. That was oddly comical. Okay, totally weird but not too weird. Guess I should probably stand guard for the merchant as that is the whole deal of this mission. Turning back to the carriage, I noticed that Baki was also done and waiting by the carriage. I go up to him and kinda do a salute for lack of a better action, and it just felt right if you ask me. I got rid of mine now. Anything else you want me to do? Please say I have nothing else. I can only contain the power of blunt force so much. Shaking his head, he spoke in his non-voice cracking voice. Gosh, puberty is a bitch, especially second time around. No, you can just stand guard here in case some of them come back, damn cowards. He said this with more of a frown he normally shows. They only group up together because they can't fight for shit on their own. I just nod, not really caring about that. I'm just happy that it's over on my part. The sooner we get to Iwa, the sooner I can buy some hot chocolate. Eating that cake Shira made reminded me just how much I like sugary things. While waiting for Gaara and the other chick, I just started thinking of all of the delicious sweets that I could likely make from my past life. Damn, I have no idea how to make a gansito or a damn Reese's cup. Two of my favorite candies out there, especially when you put them into a freezer and eat them chilled. Wiping the drool out of my mouth from that delicious though, I realized that Gaara was done and standing next to me. I refrained myself from jumping at that. I really didn't expect that. Aren't you supposed to be on the other side? I asked Gaara, since he really should be on the other side rather than here. To that he thought about it and nodded. Yeah, but I have a clone already there for me and I'll know if it gets beaten just in case. Okay, now I wish I had a more tangible clone. Unfortunately I can conjure no sand, nor know how to do the shadow clone jutsu. Heck, I got no clue if I have enough chakra for the latter, since I remember that in the show Kakashi couldn't make that many and he was a jonin. How many did you have to fight Gaara? He counted on his fingers before coming up with his answer. Like 5. What the heck? Do I really look that weak that Gaara, someone literally smaller than me, is much more of a threat than me visually? Okay, to be fair he is more dangerous, but that is mostly from Jinchuriki hacks. But it's the principle of it all. Well, I had 3. I slumped forward and sighed loudly and exaggerated. Well, like I said, at least it easier like that. I'm kinda surprised that Baki didn't tell Gaara to just go back instead of his clone standing guard, but who am I to complain about that? Before I could continue on conversation, Gaara stood up from his leaning on the carriage. Tamari finished with hers. The coast is clear for us now. He directed this to Baki, to which our teacher nodded. Raising his voice for all of us to hear, he lifted his head up. Now that we are all clear, we will be going forwards. That way we don't have to fight again in case they decide to come back. To that, all 3 of us gave our confirmations. Albeit the volume we gave them varied, along with the enthusiasm to keep going forward. Personally, I was ready to keep going. Hot cocoa, here I come. Finally. After 4 days of grueling walking to keep pace with the carriage, we finally made it to Iwa. The land surrounding it was cool. If you think seeing the same 5 types of rocks cool. Don't get me wrong, rocks are cool. I had in my previous life a collection of cool geodes back home. So I know for a fact how cool rocks and stuff can be. It's just so boring, which is funny coming from a guy who lived in a desert in 2 separate lives. Iwa itself, the village Hidden Stone Village, was kinda cool. From what I could see, it was literally a giant-ass rock dome, which made up for the fact that it was entirely made up of the same damn 5 rocks. Like Suna, the entrance gate was also big and wide. What is it with 2 of the 5 great hidden villages having big-ass gates so far? Oh, and there's a total of 2 guards as well like usual. Why only 2? What about 3? I dunno, but seriously, did all of the villages just agree to just have 2 people guarding the gates, or is there an outlier? Stop. And there is the usual stop that there normally is like last time. What business do you have with Iwa? The sorter of the 2 guards asked. They both looked pretty similar if you looked at them. Maybe twin? Brothers? It's okay, they were just here to deliver me. Haruto popped out of the carriage and waved to them. This caused the 2 to calm down and smile slightly. Seems as if they know Mr. Merchant pretty well, huh? Hey Haruto, sorry but we still have to do protocol, okay? He didn't look worried and smiled. Not a problem, you guys are just doing your jobs. As the taller one went to Baki to check the mission scroll and other stuff, the shorter one decided to engage conversation with the merchant. I caught some things, but I didn't really tune in too much as I was checking in with Gaara. It was mostly on how we felt about this now that we are pretty much done and we can finally get to start going home for that. I wanted to go into my comfy bed rather than sitting down on the hard ground keeping watch and sleeping on said hard ground. It's like camping but with more steps and not as good. Alright, everything checks out, you can go in now. The two guards moved to the side on the left and right respectively and the carriage went through there. Alright, now we can go and get some hot cocoa. I make my way forward into the city but I was met with resistance from in front of me and behind me. Huh? Da fuck? I see that both my teacher and the guards are preventing me from going forward. Huh? That was my most eloquent response to being between these two. My teacher explained to me this first. Ren, our mission is only to deliver the merchant to Iwa. Nothing more, nothing less. To be allowed within the village is a whole other matter altogether. Wait, does that mean? Yeah, the only way you can come in if you were officially invited here, and the only way a kid like you would be allowed would be for the Chunin exams. Shorty the guard so politely told me. Thank you Shorty the guard, your information was as much useful as it was unwanted. Let's go Ren, the sooner we go back determines whether we get to sleep outside or not, so get going. What? No. I want my damn hot cocoa. I try to struggle against my teacher, but I forgot that he happens to be a Jonin. There is no escaping him. I reluctantly let Baki drag me away from my last chance to fuel my craving for a nice warm fulfilling cup of hot chocolate. We now were on our way back, and I don't know if the first town we went to will have been restocked by now or still there and not sold out. I swear, the deity that put me here really is a cruel being, the highest of bitches of the order of bitches. I think I want to punch God in the fucking face or whatever mad bastard put me here. Either way, someone will be throwing hands with me and there will be nothing they can do. For now though, lament in my lack of hot cocoa. Getting back from our mission and going through the guards. Again to get into Suna, we went to turn in our mission scroll. When doing so, we got some money each. It was a good amount for a week of being a kick-ass ninja. After we got our money, we just left to go to our own homes. Baki told us that he would let us know when the next mission is, until then we are free to relax or train. Gaara and I headed straight for the house. I was personally excited to sleep on a familiar surface for once. I got tired of sleeping bags really quickly. I opened the door and we hear the sound of training moving through the halls. Wow, I know Shira wants to make up for his lack of ability for jutsu and such, but when is he not training? I would go in, but I fear if I do then I would be dragged into whatever new thing Shira came up with. I just came from my mission, I want to lay down not get kicked onto my ass. My only options are either sacrifice Gaara, or call for him to let him know we're back. Despite the temptations the first was giving me, I'm unfortunately not that much of an asshole. I would feel bad, for Shira that is. Hacks mode or not, Gaara still would be able to beat him with ease. Damn sand, being so op in a desert. Mulling over the two options, it was taken out of my hands when Gaara took action for me. Shira, we're back. Although he spoke in a low volume, the sound of training stopped, the noise level now so quiet it was deafening. Then, it was broken by a door being open and Shira walking over to us just completely drenched but with a smile nonetheless. You're back, how was it? Did you beat any bad guys? Did you get hurt? He then started asking a bunch of questions, flowing like a broken dam. Wow, he really needed to talk to someone, huh? With Gaara and I both giving answers about everything, he was now more calm yet still happy. It really was nice to see him again, despite it being a week it really felt like a while. I wonder if that's a child thing? Yet to be determined if it is a good or bad thing for me. The rest of the day consisted of me laying down, playing cards, laying down, eating and sleeping. Also, when time permitted, laying down. To increase the edge I can have in battle for the clusterfuck that is the Chunin exams, maybe I can utilize information of shows from back home. Maybe the ninja stuff will translate well? Thinking about it, there were a whole lot of ninja-related entertainment back in the old world. The amount of popularity they have is quite absurd all things considered. But I must accept that they are indeed cool. Ninjago was one of my favorite shows when I was younger. It was the epitome of coolness to a kid, personally to me at least. Especially the spinjutsu they did. Always wanted to do that. Hey, now that I think of it, I could probably try and make that a reality. Attempt and likely fail would be more of an accurate statement. My weird thought process gave me a really good idea it seems. Always did have a wandering mind. Spinjutsu likely could be useful. I mean, it's a tiny tornado of death for crying out loud. If anything, it would be fun to use. Especially yelling out, "Ninja go," when using it. If I actually make it, of course. Maybe I can take a break from the Rasengan? I haven't really been making much progress at all. Maybe a break and different tune should help? My only question is, how the fuck am I going to start this? Okay, spinning does not help the jutsu at all in any sense. Damn it, already been a week and still nothing. And I don't even have a mission on to make an excuse to do that instead, so I kinda have to do this. It's fine, no pain no gain, right? Just gotta get through this and it will be good for myself. So far I have been trying to make the tornado in different ways, from spinning myself like a top with air flying around me, to making the air go around me quickly solely using wind manipulation. I have made no progress. It's somewhat frustrating, and while it is similar to all the other things I have learned, at least with those you could see progress. Looking at the training room, it looked like a tornado went through that, which was kinda good. Sitting down, I started to come up with other ways on how to do this. Most of them were similar to previous methods I had done, others just flat out wouldn't work. Maybe I need a second opinion? Right as I was about to get one of the two housemates I had, one of them decided to come in. Shira looked ready as ever to train as he always did. Whoa, it looked like a tornado came through here. He looked around the room and seen it all in disarray. Anyway, it's almost time for my turn, so I'll just get warmed up in the corner there. Before he went to the corner I stopped him, hoping that he would be able to help me. Hey Shira, you think you could help me with something that I've been coming up with? Hopefully the one who's created a few op techniques on their own can help me find a different way of doing this. Yeah sure, let me put this here real quick first. He took a scroll filled with thirst-quenching drinks, and placed it into the corner where we would warm up, complete with some equipment that are shinobi grade, good for warming up and for lasting a long time. So what do you need help with? As usual, when it comes to new techniques and such, it seems a switch is flipped and he becomes more excited than his more composed self. Oh yeah, I should probably say this in a way that makes sense and also doesn't sound weird on how I came up with it. Well, I thought of a technique where you basically have a wind tornado surround yourself so it can take care of what gets in its way. Nodding, Shira was still paying full attention. Only problem is, I have no clue on how to do that. I've tried spinning to help which didn't work, and neither did using wind manipulation just directly. I decided that it would be a good idea to ask a second opinion on how to do this. Maybe you will be able to help? Now that I was done explaining, Shira closed his eyes and started to mumble to himself quietly. He tilted his head around and made some gestures with his hands to himself. This continued for a little while longer, then he nodded to himself and looked at me with a smile. Okay, I think I may have come up with something. He then started to move my body into a position that suspiciously looked like a dancing pose? Why'd I like I'm about to dance in Swan Lake? He looked at me confused but shook his head from that, focusing back on helping me. Whoops, forgot that they don't have Swan Lake here. Well, when I first started to learn on how to fight I had to learn dancing first. I was told that a fight could be a dance of sorts. Obviously I didn't really believe that, but as I went on with that I realized how easy it was to learn everything else. Shira explained this to me, and I guess it made sense. A lot of anime battles literally could just be a dance-off if you took out the punching and other stuff. Okay, but I fail on how this has to do with why I look like I will do a dance. At this he gave me a smile, wider than his normal ones. Crap, I think I may not like the answer to that. Well, for your jutsu I think that the spinning was in the right direction, but not correct enough. To make it work, you need to learn on how to dance. Well how about not that? So you think that dancing will help me with this? I look at him skeptically. If that wasn't a BS way of getting a power-up then I don't know what is. Yup, replied Shira with the same chipper smile that he had been wearing since we started this conversation. You know what? Fine, I'll try it. I have no other methods for this at the moment, so why not? Okay then, how do we start? He then started to go through some movements which I had to mirror. The steps were slow to make sure I don't mess up, which I still did. Well, at least after this, if nothing else, I can say I don't have 2 left feet anymore. And if this indeed does help with my spinjitzu bootleg, then even better. Still, I wonder just how this is going to be integrated into my bootleg. Maybe if someone asks me what this is called, I can call it the dancing tornado? Nah, not cool enough. I can check the dictionary later for a cool word. Wait, do we even have a dictionary? Well, I can check later for it. The house has a small library, but I haven't really taken the time to go and read them yet. No, not like that, Ren. Move your waist like this, not that. For now I have some dancing to learn. Now that it was night and I was done training for the day, I had some time to myself. What better way to send my free time than coming up with a cool name for my soon-to-be bootleg spinjutzu using a dictionary? First I should check and see if there even is a dictionary in the first place. If not, then either I would have to buy one or just come up with a different name for the jutsu. The name isn't really that important, more of a why not type of thing. Looking through the small library, there were a wide array of books. Some were lifestyle books, like cooking, and a lot more were for shinobi-related things. I saw that a few were for fuinjutsu. Sounds handy, I should read about it when I find, or don't find, the dictionary. When I finally found a thick brown book labeled dictionary, I grabbed it and went to the chair in the room, a reading chair. Sadly, it wasn't a rocking chair. Those are nice to sit on. It was comfortable though, so it's fine. Opening the book, I immediately started scanning every word quickly to find a cool sounding one. At some point I found some cool words, until I read the definitions. Yeah, I doubt someone would have fear struck into their hearts with those. When I turned to the page that would have been the S section, however, it was mostly blank with the words, insert chakra, and a small symbol solely present. Well, that's interesting. Why is there a prompt to pour in chakra in this dictionary? Seriously, just why? Is this a bomb? Who would have a bomb in a dictionary though? It also has instructions, and I doubt that a trap bomb would be like that, so most likely it is not a bomb. I kinda want to see what it is, but at the same time I don't. It's like a damn lucky block in Minecraft. Either I'm going to get something good, or I will be screwed over. Sigh, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? Here goes nothing, aside from my life, that is. I poured in my chakra, and to my relief, Pandora's box was not open from that. Instead, a smaller book came out of it with a poof. It was more elegant and expensive looking, with gold writing on the front reading, The Legacy of Shaman Case Cage. That's all for now. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments.